Ladies and gentlemen, the day has finally arrived. 8 of the best TrackMania players in the world were duking it out in Lyon to get the title of Grand League champion. Welcome to the TrackMania Grand League playoffs, live from Lyon Esports, and you're going to see all of the action from today live right here, right now, on our very channel of the Pittsburgh Knights. Hello everybody, I'm Thomas Mengozi, aka GGeek, and I'm so glad to be once again here in the casting desk to provide you coverage of the TrackMania Grand League playoffs, which are going to be occurring and starting in about half an hour. So we've got a lot to talk about in terms of what is going to and what we're actually looking forward to in terms of the action that's going to be taking place over the course of the next few hours. The day is going to be split into two. We're going to be having into the first part of the day today with 3 matches, the 2 semifinals and the lower bracket final, which are going to be played backstage, and then the main events will be played on stage starting at 8 p.m. with a big announcement from CEO of Nadeo, Florent Castelnerac, aka Helis, and Zerator, independent content creator, and that will be over to the Mania Planet channel to see it. So twitch.tv/Mania Planet at 8 p.m. for the announcement, and after that the action will resume with the winner bracket final at 8:30. The consolidation final at 9:30, and finally the grand final at 10:30 CET. Anyways, we're gonna get into that, and that's because I've prepared everything. So we got the bracket, we got the schedule, we got everything. We got you covered in this pre-show. Let's start right away with the overall bracket of the playoffs. So you can see semi-finals having already been seeded. How did you have the accent? Well, Cran hits, it's just the fruit of, well, US YouTube that actually gave me the accent and it kind of stuck. So thank you for the kind words anyway, Cranen. So, here is the bracket for today. You can see that semifinals have been already seeded with 1-4-5-8 for semifinal 1 and 2-3-6-7 for semifinal 2. And semifinal 1 is going to be the real gauntlet, the most stacked matchup ever. Papou, CarlJr, Kappa, and Tween. These are among the fastest players in the world, and Tween is going to have to be battling uphill at this point to actually secure himself a spot potentially in the winner bracket final, but he can always bounce back if he does get down to the lower bracket, that must be said. And we'll get into the everyone's pedigree and stuff like that as we get through the playoffs, and we'll go into the player profiles that we've prepared earlier on. And yeah, Papou, CarlJr, Kappa, and Tween, definitely a match to follow, and that's going to be the opening match for today. In less than a half of an hour, we're going to be getting one of the most stacked matches that we've seen on TrackMania so far. Then in the second semifinal, a little bit lesser level pace-wise on paper, but still could be really exciting to watch, with riolu from Team Norvin facing off against Aurel from GamingPrivé.com, Scrapie from Belgium, and Spam, the Dutch player from Team Diffuse Kids. As the result of that, the top 2 from each semifinal will advance into the winner bracket final, and the bottom 2 for each semifinal will go into the lower bracket final, which is going to be played after both semifinals. Then the top 2 from that lower bracket will face the bottom 2 from the winner bracket in the consolidation, while the top 2 from winner bracket will advance to the grand final. And finally, the top 2 of the consolidation will move on to get the spots into the grand final. Sorry for the stuttering. Still gonna get used to the speech. And now you might be thinking, well, Thomas, that sounds pretty neat and all, but when does the matches happen? Well, here is the entire schedule for you to get covered. And for those of you over in America, we also got all the times that have been converted into Eastern time. So, in half an hour, so at 8 p.m., so at 2 p.m. CET or 8 a.m. Eastern, we're gonna get the first semifinal between Papou, CarlJr, Kappa, and Tween. Then 1 hour after that, at 9 a.m. Eastern or 15 CET, is the second semifinal between riolu, Aurel, Scrapie, and Spam. And at 4 o'clock CET or 10 a.m. Eastern, we will get the lower bracket final to conclude the afternoon's action. After that, we're going to have a pretty long break for everyone that needs to either rehydrate themselves or eat something and stuff like that. I will definitely use that break. Then at 8 p.m. CET is going to be an important announcement with Helis, also known as Florent Castelnerac, CEO of Nadeo, and independent content creator Zerator, as well as a few other Nadeo developers that will be there on the main stage of Lyon, and that will be at 2 p.m. Eastern for you over in America. Then half an hour after that, we will get the winner bracket final. Then at 21:30 CET or 3:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll get the consolidation, and at 4:30 Eastern or 10:30 in Europe, we will get the grand final and the deciding match to see who will get merged as the world champion of TrackMania in the Grand League. So, a pretty exciting program that's pretty well split, I would say. A pretty big stint that's coming up with the matches that are happening right now. Sorry for the frame drops. Yeah, pretty stacked matchups already on the semifinals. As I said, this semifinal one is the real gauntlet, and you will see why as we're going to be presenting the players a little bit. We'll also get a few words from the mans themselves who will be taking part as we are actually getting into this. So you got the link to get into the match, so I will join the server as we speak. So yeah, just after that we will be presenting all of the players taking part in the playoffs. Oh, hold on. There we go. So, let me just get back onto OBS. Okay, there we go. And let me get back to chat. Hello, Lex. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning into the cast of the playoffs for the Pittsburgh Knights, and we're going to be finally heading into the player profiles. We're going to be going from order in the regular season, so from top 1 to top 8 in the season. So, first up, we have Papou, of his real name, Valérian Ramamonji, 22-year-old Frenchman playing for Team Gamers Origin. One a gamepad player, 6 out of the 8 players in the Grand League are gamepad players, it must be noted. Of course, as I said, first seeding, first in the regular season, collecting 289 points in total. Actually victim of a technical issue in the first step that caused him to lose all of his points on map number 4. Still managed to emerge second in this step, but then some big points haul starting on step 3, starting on step number 4, sorry, with 2 step wins under his belt and 8 map wins to his credit. 800 euros in the bank for him already before we even headed to the playoffs, which is kind of crazy to think about. He was actually one of the participants at the beta season of the Grand League that finished later in the year of 2019 at the Paris Games Week and finished the runner-up of the beta season. In other notable achievements, Papou is well versed in the dirt style. He made a name for himself in the dirt scene, winning 3 times the Gamers Assembly Dirt Tournament between 2017 and 2019, and he's also credited as being one of the 2019 ZRT Cup finalists, played in duo with his teammate Kappa for Gamers Origin Black. Moving on to seed number 2 in the playoffs, and so number 2 in the regular season, we have Riolu Borim Yevza, 24-year-old German player known as Mr. Streamer in the TrackMania community, representing Norwegian organization Team Nordvend DNB. One of the more consistent players, if not the most consistent player throughout the entire season. 2 third places, 2 second places, and 1 fourth place, with only black mark on the leaderboard being the 14th place on step number 5, a step to be forgotten, as he said, and he still managed to bag second seed with 225 points to his credit. Riolu is extremely versatile in all manner TrackMania and not just Stadium. He actually made a name for himself first in the Canyon scene, being the winningest Canyon driver of all time, with among his achievements winning the 2015 Gamers Assembly Canyon tournament. He was also one of the first men to be. He was also the very first player to beat all of the 200 Stripper Trackmaster challenges in the TrackMania Turbo game that happened in March 2019. And in terms of Stadium, he actually took a liking to. Multi-style maps and to dirt maps as well. He managed to finish in 5th place in the 2nd edition of the Planet Dirt Cup last year. Moving on to seed number 3, 3rd place in the standings is the second Frenchman engaged into the playoffs, Aurel, Aurélien Bouard of his real name. Sorry for the lack of background, that was a fail in Photoshop, but that's okay. He's our birthday boy today, aged 22 today, representing French team GamingPrivé.com. Aurel is one of the most potent, proven to be one of the more potent guys pace-wise on the Grand League, but yeah, he's had a pretty rocky start with 13th place as of step number 1, but still managed to rack some big points throughout the step and even managed to win step number 6 and whack himself 200 or 300 euros with the various map wins. Notable achievements for him include the 2019 ZRT Cup runner-up spot along with his teammate Pat for Gamers Origin Red, and he was also one of the finalists of the Gamers Assembly Dirt Tournament of 2019, finishing in 3rd place. Yeah, he's much like Papou, he made a name for himself in the dirt scene. He's also one of the most well-versed overall TrackMania players, regarded as one of the best coast players around, and he's also made a name for himself and put himself forward through the Zero Tour TrackMania Cups. Moving on to seed number 4 with a name that is pretty much associated with TrackMania at this point. It is none other than CarlJr. Carl Anthony Cloutier of his real name, 21-year-old Canadian player representing Team Solary. CarlJr's season has started really well with 2 first places in the first half of the season. Over the first 3 steps, he bagged an astonishing 191 points to his 1 points. After that, though, the second half of the season was pretty much a non-show for him. 15th place and 2 points collected only in step number 4. Then connection issues prevented him from taking part in step number 5, and a family bereavement prevented him from taking part in step number 6. So yeah, early call in the season for CarlJr, but he still managed to get his ticket in the playoffs with 4th seed with 194 points to his credit. CarlJr is one of the, if not the winningest TrackMania player in history, with 3 World Champion titles between 2013 and 2015, and 5 ZRT Cup titles, 4 individual titles, 2 in 2015, then 2017 and 2018, and the 5th title came in 2019 in the Duos ZRT TrackMania Cup, which he played alongside his teammate Bren, representing Team Solary as well. Moving on to seed number 5, and we have another marked person, and it is none other than the defending beta season champion, and it is Kappa, aka Martin Krompolch, 24-year-old chat driver representing British organization Veloce Esports, which made a name for himself in sim racing, especially in F1 esports. Kappa's season has been pretty much up and down, a pretty rocky start with 7th place for him, then followed a step win in step number 2, but then it turns out that, yeah, it was a little bit shaky. 12th and 11th and not in step number 4, in steps 3 and 4. 6th place on step number 5, but then he came good in step 6 to secure the valuable points he needed to secure himself a spot in Lyon with 5th place and 184 points. As I said earlier, he is the TrackMania Grand League Beta Season Champion, but he's also credited as the 2018 World Champion. So yeah, he's going to be looking to defend his title and become the inaugural champion of the Grand League yet again. On other notable achievements, he also won the 2019 World Team Cup as part of the coalition between Czech Republic and Slovakia. Moving on to 6th seed in the playoffs will be Scrapie, Dennis Heinen, 21-year-old Belgian, formerly playing for Team Existence in the first 2 steps of the season, but after those 2 steps, he decided to part ways with the Spanish organization, and after that, it seems as though we have seen a correlation between his results on track and the affiliation. A really rocky start for him, really complicated start to the season with the first 2 steps only bagging him a handful of points, 15th in step 1 and 8th in step 2, but after he parted ways with Existence, he came good. 2nd place in step 3, 9th in step 4, 4th in step 5, and 7th in step number 6. He ends up the season in 6th place with 164 points. Scrapie made a name for himself, put himself forward last year as part of Team PAX, a duo played by an esports team created by French streamer Domingo and Xari, and yeah, he came out as he went all the way up to the semifinals of the ZRT Cup along with Bad Lulu, and he also participated in the 2nd running of the ZRT Cup in March 2015, of which he came out the runner-up. Moving on to seed number 7 in the standings, and it is Spam, Team Lunenburg, 25-year-old Dutch driver representing Dutch team Diffuse Kids. He's also a gamepad player, but he does not play with the regular Xbox One player that anyone would use. He is currently playing with the Logitech Pro Dual Action 1, and another thing I forgot to mention about Kappa is that he is only one of 2 players in the list to actually play with a keyboard. Hello Witty, thank you very much for tuning in. So, Spam's season was really up and down as well. A pretty strong, a rather decent start with 6th place in step 1, but then big points were dropped, especially on step 2. After leading the step on map 6, he flounders and only collects a single points in last place. Then 14th place for him in step 3, only 3 points collected. 3rd place was the real breakthrough for him, where he managed to get back a lot of points for himself. 8th place for step 5 was kind of like for step 5 really set him up for a pretty tense step 6, which was do or die in his words for him as he entered the step, but in the end, he managed to secure himself a spot in the playoffs in 7th place with 144 points. Spam is notably credited as being the 2012 World Champion, the final title before the CarlJr Mania swept in and won the last 3 titles at ESWC. He also took part in the ZRT Cup 2019 along with Roland as part of Team Ballin and went all the way up to the semifinals. And last but not least, seed number 8 is our man Tween, Marek Paka from Slovakia, 23-year-old man playing representing our organization, the Pittsburgh Knights. Tween's season has also been pretty much up and down. A pretty decent start to the season with 5th place in both Step 1 and 2, and then Step 3 was kind of devastating for him with only 10th place, then 7th place in Step number 4. He came good in Step number 5 with a big haul of points, 2nd place in the standings and 67 points bagged in. You were there, guys. I was there to commentate it as well. So yeah, it was pretty relieving to see him perform like that. And Step 6 was kind of deceiving for him with 9th place and only 5 points bagged in. But in the end, all is well. He is in the playoffs with 8th seeding and 136 points. Tween is considered widely regarded as one of the fastest tech players in TrackMania, and he's also credited as being the 4-time World Championship runner-up in 2011, 2012, 2014, and 2018. Also came out as the runner-up in the Gaming Winterfest 2019, and along with Kappa as part of the coalition between Czech Republic and Slovakia, he won the 2019 World Team Cup. So then, that is it. 8 players, 8 people chosen, but only 1 can become Grand League champion. So then, that's how everything looks in terms of the bracket, in terms of how the players are, and now we're gonna get into a little bit of a new territory for me here. We're gonna get into the presentation of the actual format. Now, we used to play in Champions mode in the steps, but here it's all a different ball game, as you will be able to see from the video. A playoff match is played across 5 maps, with 5 rounds being played on each map. Before the start of the match, each player gets to pick and ban a map from the playoff map pool, which is made up of 10 maps. After all players have made their picks, the final map is randomly selected from the remaining maps in the pool. The TrackMania Grand League playoffs matches will be played in Cup mode. Cup mode is a de facto game mode used for TrackMania competitions ever since the release of the stadium environment back in 2006. In a Cup mode match, 4 players compete against each other in a series of rounds. At the end of each round, players are given points based on their finishing position. In the TrackMania Grand League playoffs, there are 23 points up for grabs each round, with the round winner bagging 10 points. If a player goes off track, he will be able to respawn and resume racing. But be careful, after the first player comes across the finish line, the remaining players have 10 seconds to follow suit. If a player doesn't manage to make it to the finish in time, that player will not score any points on that round. When the player reaches a score of 120 points, he moves into the finalist status and will have to win 1 round in order to secure his position. At the end of the day, a savvy combination of raw pace, consistency, and risk evaluation is the key to stay on top in Cup mode. So there you have it. That is everything you need to know about how the TrackMania Grand League playoff matches will be played. May the best man win. So then, that has been the presentation of the Cup mode itself. Now you can see all of the rule sets that are going to be applied. This is going to be your cheat sheet for today as we put the music back in. So yeah. Here we go, 120 points limit to reach the finalist mode, 5 maps being played with 5 rounds played on each map. 1 warm-up round per map is how I understand it, then we get a finish time out of 10 seconds after the first player comes across the finish line, and respawns will be allowed. So, now that you're familiar with the format, let's actually hear a little bit from the players, shall we? We do have a few interviews coming up from our man ID Coldell, who's had a bit of a sound issue after the first 2 interviews that he recorded yesterday. So yeah, excuse this. Sorry for the audio quality that might be not as good as the actual interviews themselves. But yeah, we will be getting into the interviews in a bit. Actually, we're gonna get into the interviews right now. We're gonna interview the first man in the seating, which is going to be Papou. So here we go. Papou at the microphone of ID Coldell.
The playoff phase for TrackMania Grand League is taking place today. The seed number 1 and the winner of the group stage is the guy right next to me. It's Papou from Gamers Origin. Papou, heading into this tournament as seed number 1. Will you leave Lyon with a title?
I hope so. I hope that suit 1 will help me to gain the trophy. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. We all know that, and I'm gonna do my best.
Looking at the semi-finals, you're facing maybe the 3 greatest players of the last decade. Yeah. Are you somewhat regretting that you even got the seed number 1? Because getting seed number 1 should be the easier semi-final, but here you are, maybe already the grand final.
I mean, I would have to face them maybe later on the matches, so yeah, whatever. If I face them now, maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I will get warmed up pretty well, even if I lose. I think it's a pretty good thing to be able to play against those players, which were my idols some few years ago. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, and also it will be a hard task to make.
But how confident are you going into this tournament? You are seed number 1 from the group stage. You dominated it, won the most maps, had the most points. Are you confident actually?
Not at all. I mean, I cannot be confident against these kind of players. I mean, it will be irrespectful to say that I'm confident against these players, because I know that I'm not the best, and I will just try to do my best. Even though I finished like with seed 1, with as you said, many map wins, etc. Yeah, that's a different tournament. Really, cup modes, they're really used to it. They've been playing the game since, more time than I did.
Yeah.
So they have more experience. I have everything to prove today, I think, and I hope for the best. I hope to maybe reach a grand final and even win, maybe. But yeah, let's play match by match, and we'll see.
It's time for a French player to win a big tournament. You were so close at Paris Games. Imagine the scenes if you win in front of 3,000 people. What would that mean to you?
It will mean a lot. Just win a major tournament. It will be so. I don't know. I will be so proud of myself. Finally, I will realize something big in TM, and it will be huge. It will be really huge in front of the huge one that we'll see tonight. And it will be amazing.
You're known for being one of the players that prepares the best, takes this most serious. Can you tell people how much have you prepared for this playoff phase?
How much? How many hours maybe? Sure. I have no clue of the hours that I put in. Don't know, maybe not 100, but probably close to it. 6 hours a day, so I don't know, make the calculator on that. So yeah, I hope it will pay off. I put a lot of efforts into it. They did the same actually.
Yeah.
They are really training my match. I don't know about the other match, but I think everyone is trained enough. And yeah, we will see about the form, etc. The warm up, if everyone is warm. Yeah. It will depend. I don't think it will depend only on the skill, but also with the warm up, with the adaptation of the PCs, etc. Conditions. We'll see.
Looking at you outside yourself, who do you see as the strongest contender for winning this TrackMania Grand League?
Honestly, it's hard to say, because everyone could win in qualified for the playoffs, so it's hard to say. I don't know. I would say I would love to say myself, but I can't. But I definitely can. So yeah, everyone.
We need a prediction here. Who is going to win it?
That's a tough question. Man, I don't know.
Papou?
Nope. Nope, because I don't want to jinx myself. But yes, I would say maybe Kappa, because he's the defending champion. Yeah. So he has really something to defend, Yeah. So yeah, Kappa maybe.
There we have it. The playoff phase starts at 2 o'clock and the grand final is at 10:30. Maybe we will see Papou in that grand final. I certainly believe so. That's it. Bye-bye.
Alrighty then, you heard from the first man in the seedings. You can actually hear Papou telling him about how he's feeling in the overall Grand League playoffs himself, in terms of how everything will go, in terms of how he thinks the Rocking Order will shape up. And yeah, it is a really interesting interview of that. And just before we go into the game with the picks and ban phase in a few minutes, we do have an interview from the man himself. We do have a video for you. Here we go. Marek Paka, Tween, at the microphone of Aurel Coldal.
The playoff phase for the TrackMania Grand League's first official season is taking place today. One of the players that will be in action is the Slovakian player Tween from Pittsburgh Knights now. Tween, another big tournament, another new decade here in TrackMania. How are you feeling heading into the TrackMania Grand League?
I'm feeling kind of fresh, actually. It's like it's a new team, it's a new decade, it's new maps, like a new, brand new style, basically. So it feels refreshing, actually. So I'm not really sure like what to expect going into the tournament with so many things changing, but here we are.
I mean, people who remember back to 2018 in September there, you joined Team Scrapie, heading into your first tournament there was Giant Cup, maybe one of the more dominant performances of that year. Will new team now mean a new title again?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I suppose as I said, it makes things fresh. So I think that's what made the success of Giant Cup, basically. And here I am having the same ingredient again, so let's try.
Can you tell people how much have you prepared for this compared to, let's say, Giant Cup then, or TrackMania World Championship where you played second?
The past 2 weeks have been pretty heavy on the practice, and I try to keep up with the other guys because I know that some of them are going to be faster, basically, and I try to make myself as fast and maybe try to be more consistent than them on the rounds. So that's my strategy, basically.
Your semi-final is, maybe people already call it the grand final, playing against Kappa, CarlJr, and Papou. How do you see yourself among those players in the first semi-final?
I'll be honest, I know I'm probably the one that may be trailing behind, but the advantage is that it's the first match, and I think there is a lot of mental game that goes into it. Like sometimes you just start a tournament and you just can't quite get the hold of it, you know. And if I'm the the dark horse, then that plays into my advantage, let's just say. And I'm feeling fresh right now, so I hope I'm not the one that gets the shortest straw, I guess.
You mentioned that this is a new decade, and also that new maps for you. This is the first time you play this TrackMania Grand League. Can you tell us how is it for you to play these new maps compared to the tech maps?
It's a lot different, especially in the way that you practice. You try to maybe make small parts in the editor and just grind them out. And there's also, it's hard to compare yourself to the other players, especially when you build the short versions of the track. You just don't know if maybe someone else has a better approach to something, and it goes very micro, actually. Like you just have to try out a lot of stuff compared to tech, where you basically just try to get into the flow and get that down. So it's changed a lot of things. So I hope it's going to at least work in my favor a little.
People might remember you as the runner-up 4 times at the World Championship. You have been placing second. Now it's a new decade. What would a victory here mean to you? It's going to be your biggest win. What would that eventually mean to you in your career?
Especially because it's season 1. It would mean a lot. And I know there was a beta season that Kappa already won, but I think maybe like season 1 compared to beta season, like simply in terms of like the name that it has, it sounds better, I'll be honest. So and compared to like ESWC wins, I think it's very comparable. Like I just feel like the game is continuing in the same scope, basically. So yeah.
That's the last question for me. If you have any final prediction of who is eventually going to be the winner of the TrackMania Grand League?
The winner of the TrackMania Grand League. That's a difficult one. On paper, it's not going to be me. I know that. So let's try some. I'm gonna go with Papou.
Wow, that's we have it. Papou is going to be the winner of the TrackMania Grand League. You can already watch the first semi-final with Tween in action from 2 o'clock, and then the grand final is at 10:30. That's it. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
So there you go, then. That was the interview of our man Tween. The microphone of Eirik Holdal, as I said, had a bit of a connection issue himself. Let me just reconnect to the actual game server, because apparently... I don't know if the pack and bans have been decided yet, but anyway, we're going to switch into the game right now as we speak, and let me just remove the calibration image. There we go, so... okay, so we do have the pick and ban screens up right now. Just put the game music here, so we're just waiting for people to get their deciding picks and bans. I wonder if there's anything else going on. I'm just going to be looking at other streams right now. And yeah, the pick and bans are definitely starting to come in pretty soon. So, Descend has been banned. There we go. First map ban of the day is going to be Descend. We will not see that in the first semi-final of the Grand League playoffs. Next up is going to be Control Tower to be actually banned. So, 8 maps remaining so far in the pool. Let's actually see what the third ban is. Oh, sorry for the link reveal. Sorry, very much sorry for that. Let's actually see. So we're just waiting anxiously for the bans to proceed. Moving on to map number 3, which is going to be Starcase, which is going to be banned. So there are definitely a few changes that must be highlighted for the identities, especially Mini XXL actually banned. Oh, actually the banning and the picking and banning phase are really kind of capricious here, as we see maps actually getting put in and then removed again from the bans. It's really interesting to see the thought process of players behind those bans. So it seems as though Mini XXL, Starcase, Control Tower, and Descend are banned as of now. Let's actually wait for any changes into that, or if we get any picks in terms of maps to be played. It seems as though we do have a few issues. Okay, there we go. Now we have the players. So, Papou will first ban, then Carl, then Kappa, then Tween. So, Papou will ban Descend. So, that was his map ban. Then Control Tower is banned by CarlJr. Then Kappa will ban Starcase, and Tween will be banning, I assume, Mini XXL. Okay, we're going to be waiting on Tween's ban right now. And it's going to be SkyEuro which will be banned. The final map of step number 6 will not be played. Let's actually see the picks for everyone. Tween will get the first to pick his map, and we're gonna see in a few seconds which map he decides to play. If you're just joining into the stream, this is the TrackMania Grand League playoff phase, and we are currently in the picks and ban maps for the playoff semi-final 1. Tween will choose to play Rock or Roll from table map from step number 1. Then Kappa has chosen Mini XXL map of step number 3, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4. I can't really remember which steps are associated to which maps. Anyways, we're gonna get Rock or Roll, Mini XXL, thanks to Tween and Kappa. Third pick is going to be CarlJr, and we're gonna see which map the Canadian picks. Let's see how everything shakes out in terms of the bans. Let's actually see CarlJr taking his time to choose, and it's gonna be just skidding from step number 4, the map of the Dirt Identity, and Contest Diving will be the final map pick from Papou, step number 4 as well, and the final map randomized will be Bright Side. So two step 1 maps in the actual match. So here you have your lineup: Rock or Roll, Mini XXL, Just Kidding, Contest Diving, and Bright Side will be all of the maps that will be played. And we're going to be going into map number 1, which is going to be Rock or Roll, it seems as though. Yeah, it is Rock or Roll, map by table, which we saw in step number 1. And yeah, oh sorry, I forgot the sponsors. We'll get sorted with the sponsors a little bit later on, because the match is going to get started right away after a quick warm-up. So let's see, we got Kappa, Papou, Tween, and CarlJr in the server. We're currently following our man Tween from the Pittsburgh Knights over the course of this track. Okay, let me just bring the chat back in. There we go, so I can see you guys. Here we go, Go Tween. Now, the Go Tween thing will not pop any hearts in the contrary to the steps that we see, but you can still show your support in the chat. He will be grateful for it. Allez Tween, exact Zira. Allez Tween. Step, oh no, playoffs. I know I got debated, Misty Boy. I can't really help it. So yeah, you can see the map from table. Not the most technical in the world. We see the wall ride right now coming up, and the few changes is that the multi-map has been cut off, and you're going to see the identity right now, which has a very peculiar way to be, there's a certain strats, sorry, two passes successfully, as you can see. Tween going for the no drift here to keep his line, then the drift in here, and then we're going to go towards the identity right now, which is consisting of a series of stair jumps, and you're going to see people aiming for the third platform. We're going to see Tween do it. 1, 2, 3, land, and then 1, 2, 3, land early on the platform to get the best line and cross the finish line to finish the round. 15 seconds left before we start the first match of this day. Kappa, Tween, we'll see CarlJr in the mix as well, and it seems as though we're gonna get started right away. So here we go, guys. As the connection drops, sorry about that. The start of match number 1 is now. So we see that Tween and the rest of the group has been pretty much packing together. Tween emerging early in the lead with less than 1/100 of a second, but then dropping a little bit of his speed and falling down behind the pack, led by CarlJr at the moment. Let's actually follow with a Canadian driver from Team Solary battling it out with Kappa for first place. Currently, CarlJr with a bit of a interior line gets the booster. Will he manage to keep his advantage? Ooh, really low line here at the transfer. Still battling it out with Kappa, but remaining in the lead as we head into this checkpoint right here, and actually pulling out a bit of a lead. 0.3 of a second between him and Kappa in second place, but Kappa is now battling it out with Tween. Tween is trying to come back in here. Papou a little bit further behind, actually remaining in the top 2 group with half a second down on the leader. And yeah, we're going to see CarlJr get through the identity really soon here. Tween in second place and Papou emerging in front of Kappa. They're half a second down on the leader, CarlJr, and they're trying to catch up on Tween, and it seems as though Kappa will be able to make an overtake. No, he won't, but Papou has more momentum than Tween, and now it's going to be over the identity to decide. Let's see CarlJr if he fails it. 1, 2, 3. Remember the steps here, and Papou going for the risky line here. Oh, and Tween will fail it. No, that's not what we want to see right off the bat for Tween. Let's see if he will be able to finish. He will, most likely 1-0. Come on. Yes, he will finish with 3 points to his credit, but no, that's not what we wanted to see right from the get-go. Tween failing the identity, landing a little bit too late, and as a result, falling off the map, forcing him to respawn. Oh man, such an unlucky time for our man, as we're going to be following with Papou, who finished 3rd in the first round, currently sitting in 3rd place with 4 points to his credit. CarlJr is another level. Well, I mean, he's not world champion for nothing, am I right? He's not ZRT Cup champion for nothing either. So yeah, currently Papou in second place, emerging in front of Tween and CarlJr. CarlJr a little bit further behind than he should be. Kappa emerging in the lead. Tween going for the interior line, getting the booster, as does Papou. Let's see over the transfer. Tween emerging slightly in the lead, but Papou will be able to regain a lot more momentum than Tween, and will be able to overtake, but no, actually gets overtaken by both CarlJr and Tween. Papou down to 3rd place and battling out with Kappa, and he touches the wall. That's going to demote him down to 4th and line in place. Meanwhile, Tween is in 2nd place, up there battling it out with CarlJr. CarlJr in the lead, 1/10 of a second in front of Tween. Kappa in 3rd place, 0.3 of a second down on leader, 0.2 of a second down on Tween. As we're gonna go over the course of a couple seconds to the identity. Meanwhile, Papou slightly further behind, but could still pick off anyone who makes a mistake at the identity. Let's actually see how Tween goes after this identity. Let's see if he does get it. 3rd landing done. 3rd landing done as well, and he will remain in front of Kappa. CarlJr in 1st, Tween 2nd, Kappa 3rd, and Papou will emerge in 4th place. 0.8 of a second of a gap between 1st and 4th as of round number 2, and it seems as though the leader will remain the leader. Yep, CarlJr will be in the lead with 20 points, Kappa 2nd and 10 with 10, Tween 3rd with 9 points, one behind, and Papou in 7th place. It seems as though that's the only player info I can get in terms of player info. It's not exactly the same layouts as the steps, where we don't have any regular player info, so yeah, I'm really sorry about that, and we're gonna have to make do with that. Meanwhile, CarlJr and Tween in 1st and 2nd, then Kappa in 3rd, and Papou have dropped a lot bit more momentum over time, currently rounding out the field. 1/10 of a second down of a gap between 1st and last. The group remaining packed. Now to the transfer. Where's Kappa though? Kappa has been forced to respawn. Kappa is being actually forced to take an alternate line, and that's going to be unfortunate for the beta season champion, which will fall down to 4th and final place. 2.6 seconds down on the leader. Tween and CarlJr battling it out with each other. Then Papou emerging in the mix as well in 3rd place. Papou could potentially overtake the Canadian player, 3-time world champion, remember, to potentially move up the spot and score 2 extra points. Meanwhile, Tween remaining in the lead, calm and collected. 2/10 of a second between him and the top 2 group, but then here comes Papou. Trying second, Tween will clip the wall. Unbelievable for him. Let's actually hope he will get through the identity perfectly. Meanwhile, Papou and CarlJr will be battling it out for first place, and it is going to be CarlJr who emerges in the victor in that battle. Papou second, Tween third, and Kappa will be in 4th place. And we're going to see a tie between Tween and Kappa as they're going to be third equal on 13th place. On 13 points, sorry. And Kappa will be actually demoted down to 4th place as a result of that finish, and Papou will move up into 2nd place, and you can see 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 13 points equal. So we're already seeing a pretty tight matchup in the first map of the semi-final. Meanwhile, CarlJr scoring 3 round wins out of 3, 30 points for him, and starting to make a breakaway for the lead here. Meanwhile, battling with Tween here, CarlJr for the lead. Then we see that Papou has emerged a little bit wide here and clips the wall, and he's going to be forced to respawn. That's going to be out already. Papou, player from Gamer's Origin, will not be able to score any valuable points here. I doubt he will be able to finish. He's been forced to respawn a 2nd time, I think. And yeah, that's going to be it for the French player. Meanwhile, Tween and CarlJr in 1st and 2nd. Tween in the lead, but the CarlJr re-overtaking Tween for the lead. A really nip and tuck battle between these two guys. And yeah, Kappa in 3rd place, meanwhile, looking to play the patience game, looking to see if anyone makes a mistake and reap the benefits and potentially score 2 extra points for him to try to get back up to 2nd place. Meanwhile, CarlJr remaining in the lead pretty comfortably, 2/10 of a second in front of Tween, going through the identity. Tween will clip the checkpoints, unbelievable. Let's actually see if he will be able to retain and clear the identity. He will be able to clear it, but he will overtake Kappa for 2nd place on the line. 300ths of a second between Tween and Kappa. CarlJr first, Tween second, Kappa third, and unfortunately, Papou will not score any points. He will be respawned 2 times. So yeah, Papou will unfortunately be in last place. 19 points for Tween in 2nd place. Kappa 3rd place with 17, and CarlJr in the lead with 40 points with 1 more round to go on Rock or Roll. Almost got debated there, sorry. So following on with Papou, who must actually do everything he can to actually get some points together, get his act together after the paltry round that he had on round number 4. And let's hope that it doesn't actually get the damage to the mindset here, manage the mindset here. So yeah, Papou currently sitting in 4th place, less than a 10th of a second down on the leader. CarlJr, Kappa, and Tween. Meanwhile, it's a really packed group here. It's still anybody's game on this round, and it seems as though Kappa will get the whole shot after this CP. No, it is CarlJr for 400ths of a second, and Tween emerging in front of Papou, who seems to have clipped the wall a little bit, as so does Tween. And Tween emerging a little bit wide. He's going to be down half a second on the remaining of the guys here. CarlJr remaining in the lead, then top 2 battle between Kappa and Papou. It seems as though Kappa still has a little bit of an advantage here. And meanwhile, Papou has got the inside line, but Kappa will be able to get the switch back because he's got more momentum onto the drift here. And Kappa will retain its 2nd place inventory, but he actually gets a little bit more momentum than Papou here. Let's actually see over the identity how everything goes. CarlJr going in 1st, Kappa 2nd, Papou 3rd, Tween remaining in 4th place. Kappa with a really aggressive line. Oh, he's going to be forced to respawn to promote Tween up to 3rd place. CarlJr, Papou, Tween, and Kappa will be your top 4. And yes, as of map number 1, it is going to be a full sweep on Rock or Roll for CarlJr. 50 points in the back for him. Tween will be in 2nd place with 23 points. Then Papou will move up to 3rd with 9. No, actually, Kappa will remain in 3rd place with 20 points, and Papou will remain in 4th with 19 after map number 1. 110.3. Yeah, Carl is a beast. Moving on to map number 2, which is going to be Mini XXL by Nadeo, the first map of the overall map pack to use a no gret block identity, followed by a U-turn that we're gonna see in the warm-up. Now, I know I don't really say much about the tracks as I did in the steps, but I had a bit of an issue. I completely lost all my map notes, so yeah, I'm gonna have to do without it. Sans filet as we say in French. So then, warm-up for the second map, which is Mini XXL. CarlJr emerging in the leader. More suspense, please, Carl. Yeah, I do agree, Dan. Although you can't really deny, you can't take away from the fact that CarlJr is probably one of the big favorites here and one of the most experienced players in TrackMania. Tween does have a few cards at hand to play, even though he found himself in a bit of an underdog position compared to his competitors. He is actually looking pretty in shape after this first map, despite having a bit of a shocker in round number 1 after failing the identity pretty hard Kappa, meanwhile, not having the start that he really wanted. Currently sitting in 3rd place with 20 points. Not really the title defense that he was hoping to start right now. Not really the start he was hoping to start title defense. And Papou also, let's hope that he manages to recover from this setback that was round number 4 on Rock or Roll, which in which he was forced to respawn 2 times and was not able to score any points as a result. And yeah, let's actually see how everything goes in this particular round. Warm-up has been completed for Kappa for pretty much all of the players, and the round is going to start right now. Map number 2 of semi-final 1 is underway, and we're going to be following the beta season champion, Kappa. So as I activate all the cars here for you to see, sorry for the ghosting effect. So meanwhile, ooh, Kappa clipping the inside of the hole here at the first hole, and that's going to demote him down to 4th place. But Papou has dropped a lot of momentum in the following corner, and that could potentially allow Kappa to get back up into contention. Meanwhile, Tween emerges in the lead in front of CarlJr. 15 hundredths of a second between the Canadian and the Slovakian player. Meanwhile, Kappa has managed to get back into the mix with a much better drift than CarlJr and got a lot more momentum. But now onto the dirt section, not really the favorite part of Tween's game, but Papou could potentially use this as an opportunity to get back positions and now get into the top 4, top 3 fight, potentially maybe even the lead fight. But it seems as though the drift was kind of failed here. Papou will go for a bit of a different line here, and we'll clear the jump nicely. CarlJr in the lead. No, actually, Tween in the lead, sorry. I completely forgot that Tween, our man, was in the lead. I'm really sorry about that, but he seems as though he will currently emerges in a comfortable position as they attack the identity for the first time right here. CarlJr with a much better line, and Kappa emerging with a lot more momentum, but in the end, it is going to be Tween who will remain in the front. Watch out for the checkpoint, and it seems as though Tween will win. No, CarlJr will snatch the win with less than 1/100th of a second on the line. CarlJr first, Tween second, Kappa third, and Papou in 4th place. CarlJr pulling a Sam Hornish Jr. IndyCar style just at the line, snatching the first place away. 60 points for Carl in first place, Tween second with 29, Kappa third with 24, and Papou fourth with 22. As we attack round number 2 out of 5 on Mini XXL, currently following the leader in the standings so far, CarlJr and Kappa and Papou have made a critical mistake here. Papou will remain in 3rd place, but Kappa has dropped out a lot of positions. He currently finds himself over half a second down, 7/10 of a second down to the lead group, currently led by CarlJr and Tween, battling it out with each other for the lead. Meanwhile, Papou is 3/10 of a second down. He seems as though he has touched the wall. It might be an impression. Yes, he did touch the wall, and that's going to allow Kappa to get back into contention. Kappa now finding himself 1.1 second down on the leaders, but now here comes the dirt part. Could this be the opportunity for both Kappa and Papou to get back into contention? Let's actually see here. It seems as though Papou and Kappa will remain quite a ways away from the top 2 battle, but meanwhile, CarlJr has managed to pull away after that dirt section compared to Tween. Tween in 2nd place with 4/10 of a second of a gap between him and the Canadian driver. Guys, they are going to go into the identity in the space of a few seconds here. Papou trying to get back as much positions as possible, going for a different line. He clinches the wall. Is that going to allow Kappa? Yes, he will allow the Veloce Esports driver to get back up to 3rd place, and Tween, meanwhile, will cross the finish line in 2nd place. Carl will win the round. Tween 2nd, Kappa 3rd, and Papou in 4th place. 70 points then for CarlJr as of round number 7 of this semi-final. Tween in 2nd place with 35, Kappa 3rd with 28, and Papou 4th with 25. As we go on to round number 3 of Mini XXL, round number 8 of the semifinal, and we're going to be following the man currently leading in the standings once again, CarlJr from Team Solary. 21-year-old Canadian driver, as I stated, the winningest driver in TrackMania history, as Kappa and Papou have made a few mistakes. It seems as though this opening part is the real bane of the existence of Papou and Kappa, as they seem to make tiny mistakes there, but that do end up costing a lot of time in the long run. Meanwhile, Tween and CarlJr seem to have a battle of their own here for the lead. It seems as though Tween has emerged, does have a bit of a preference for the opening section. It's where he can actually take the fight to CarlJr and actually open up a gap as before they enter into the dirt section, where CarlJr can be able to actually clinch a little bit back of momentum compared to Tween. It seems as though Tween has had a bit of a different exit a bit of a sluggish exit of out of the dirt section, and CarlJr will re-emerge in the lead, but the battle is still very much on. 400ths of a second between CarlJr and Tween, and now we're going to get into the identity. Tween dropping a little bit more momentum as he tries to secure that jump landing, and Tween going for much interior line here, battling it out with CarlJr yet again. He got the whole shot at the CP, but how will everything go in terms of this identity? CarlJr seems to have got a line a bit better than Tween, and he will re-emerge in the lead again. Let's actually see the checkpoint. Checkpoint is passed pretty much perfectly, and Carl will win 200ths of a second in front of Tween in second place, then Kappa third, and Papou 1 second down in fourth place. After round number 8, 80 points for CarlJr in first place, 41 points for Tween in second place, 32 points for Kappa in third, and 28 points for Papou in fourth. We're already on the second to last one on Mini XXL. We're going to be following Kappa, currently sitting in third place with 32 points. Again, not having the start that he wanted to his title defense, going really risky here. And it seems as though CarlJr has took a little bit of a risk and dropped a little bit of momentum, but remains in the right group. It seems as though Papou forehead. Papou and Kappa have reemerged in the contention, and Tween and CarlJr are once again battling it out for the lead, but Papou is now closer than ever. 300ths of a second between him and the group right here, and now it seems as though it's game on for the remainder of the round for all of these players as we head into the dirt section. This could be where Papou makes his gains. This could be where he takes the lead compared to the remainder of his competitors. Let's actually see how the exit goes. We saw that Tween had a bit of a sluggish exit. It seems as though it's the case again for our man from the Pittsburgh Knights. Tween currently sitting in third place. CarlJr, he's completely full stop it. I can't believe my eyes. Kappa will emerge in the lead. Tween in second place, battling it up with Papou here. And now we'll see that the Kappa is emerging with a pretty comfortable lead for the identity here. Let's actually see who gets the better line, and Tween actually emerging with a bit of a clip on the whole. Kappa will get much more momentum than him, and Papou will emerge in front, but let's see how he goes to the finish line. It's going to be Papou who gets second place, Kappa third, Papou second, Tween in third place, and CarlJr will come across the finish line and collect those 3 points, but it will not be a clean sweep yet again for CarlJr. 83 points for him in first place, Tween second place with 45 points, Kappa third with 42 points, and Papou fourth with 34. So yeah, battle for second place is very much hotting up as we're heading into the final round of Mini XXL, round number 10 of the first semi-final. Remember, 120 points is the limit to reach to get the finalist mode, and after that, a round win is absolutely mandatory to keep the position. And Papou again has made a mistake, and he's going to be dropping down. He's failed dramatically here at the first intersection. 1.8 seconds down on the leader, but he's going to drop even more time. Meanwhile, CarlJr has also made a bit of a mistake and dropped a bit of momentum. He's currently sitting in third place behind Tween and Kappa. The Czechoslovakian duo from the World Team Cup is now battling it out yet again for position. Kappa in first place, meanwhile Tween currently in second, Carl in third place, 3/10 down on the leader. Then Papou is 4 seconds down on CarlJr. That's actually not really good looking for the Gamers Origin driver. Meanwhile, Tween and Kappa going through the dirt section. It seems as though Tween has dropped a bit of momentum compared to Kappa, and allows CarlJr to get back into contention for second place. Let's actually see how everything goes. 3/10 of a second between Tween and Kappa, and CarlJr is less than a 10th in front, less than 10th behind, and Tween drops a bit momentum compared to CarlJr, and that's going to allow the Canadian to move up to second place. Kappa, meanwhile, still in the lead, going through the identity as CarlJr tries to reel him in, going for the much interior line here, as Tween will do the same. And let's actually see how he goes over the finish line, and Carl with much more momentum, but no, he will actually resist. Tween will get second place in front of CarlJr, Kappa in first, Tween second, CarlJr third, and Papou will emerge in fourth place, 4.8 seconds down after that critical mistake on the first section of round number 5. So CarlJr first with 87 points, Tween second with 51, Kappa second with 52, Tween third with 51, and fourth is Papou with 37. So game on for second place. We now all that Tween needs is to perform on the subsequent maps, and map number 3 is going to be Just Skidding, the map that is characterized by a lead foot identity, and I can't really find it. Oh. Just kidding. Where is it? Anyways, I don't have the lower third for it right now, but yeah, this is Just Kidding, characterized by a identity consisting of a lead foot. No, that's Starcase. There we go. No, that's twice Starcase. First fail of the entire cast, ladies and gentlemen. Even professionals can make mistakes. Anyways, so just skidding with a really fast flowing section right here. Then we go into this particular grass part where we go into the where we actually see two different strats, one going for the full checkpoint, then the 2 triangles, whereas Papou will go for the 3 triangle strat, going through the 3 pillars. Really sorry about that, guys. That was unforeseen. All people clearing the identity, all people clearing the engine killer jump, where you need around 290 kilometers an hour to be able to clear the jump, and you need to build that speed as much as possible on the third turn before that. And now we get to the identity. Don't release a lot of speed and get into this particular identity sideways, then drop a lot of momentum again and get through unscathed and cross the line to complete the run. The record is what? Is a 105.04 by the man you see on screen, Kappa. He did in practice, and meanwhile, we're gonna get started with map number 3, and we're gonna get underway, and we're gonna be spectating our man Tween. Third place currently with 52 points. So, first jump here, 260 kilometers an hour to clear it. People going from left to from right to left, that's our CarlJr and Kappa. Meanwhile, Papou and Tween will opt to stay in dead center, and CarlJr emerges a little bit in the lead. Less than a tenth of a second between the 4 players right now, as CarlJr heads into the grass part with the checkpoints. Papou going for the aggressive line, as does Tween. 1, 2, 3 pillars cleared, and that's going to allow both of them to move past CarlJr. CarlJr's made a mistake, it seems there. He kind of weaved a little bit in the grass, dropping a lot of momentum in the process, and finds himself down in 3rd place, battling it out with Kappa. But he seems to be in the right group and has managed to get make the junction to Papou and Tween. Papou currently in 1st, Tween in 2nd, and maybe CarlJr making inroads on Tween, potentially overtaking him before getting to the identity. Let's actually see in the checkpoint. Yes, it will be the case. CarlJr emerging in 2nd place at the identity, but now, oh no, Tween will be forced to respawn. He waits way too far to the left, to the outside, and that's going to be Papou for the win. CarlJr in 2nd, Kappa 3rd, and Tween will come across the finish line to get his 3 points, but emerges in 4th and final position in the round. Such a shame for Tween. CarlJr will remain in 1st place with 103 points, Kappa in 2nd place with 56, 54 points for Tween in 3rd, and 47 points for Papou in 4th. And now it seems as though he could be maybe fall prey to the French driver. That could potentially happen for Tween, but let's actually not think about those kind of things, and let's pray for him to get much better runs subsequently. Papou again staying dead center, Tween having a bit of a dodgy landing, but thankfully did not drop too much momentum compared to the rest of the field, and the group remains tight with less than 1/10 of a second separating all of these 4 players. Look at the group in front for the top 3. This is one of those things that is really amazing about TrackMania. Everyone being extremely packed together, going for the exact same line. You can see the beauty of the whole game right here. Meanwhile, Tween emerging in the lead into the dirt jump, but actually gets a bit of a... Ooh, it actually gets the jump perfectly, and Tween will get into the lead, but Kappa and CarlJr are pounding and are coming thick and fast. Tween will remain in the lead, Papou in 2nd place, fouling it out with Kappa, and actually see CarlJr. No, Tween's made a mistake again, but he remains in that group right now. He will need to see if anyone makes a mistake in here. No, it seems as though everyone has got it down now, and yes, we will see Kappa emerging in the lead with a 105.529, CarlJr 2nd, Papou 3rd, and Tween in 4th place. So then, 99 points for CarlJr in 1st place, 66 for Kappa in 2nd, 57 for Tween in 3rd, and for Papou with 51. Really good round between the top 3 here, as we saw from the perspective of Tween a little bit further behind, but yeah, it was a really great round with less than 1/10 of a second separating the top 3. As Tween will drop a lot more momentum, and he gets the really bad landing here, and that's going to be out already for our man, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the top 3 is battling it out hard, thick, and fast. CarlJr, Papou, and Kappa, but Papou has a bit of a worse line compared to the worst people, but he's going to be able to go for the straighter 3-pillar strat, and he's going to be able to claw back momentum and overtake CarlJr into the checkpoint for 2nd place. Kappa, meanwhile, remaining in the lead, but then the battle continues to rage on. Papou going for the wide line, 300 kilometers an hour to clear the jump perfectly, and gets more momentum than Kappa, who seems to have clipped the actual engine killer. It seemed like it, but it doesn't look. But in the end, it wasn't so. CarlJr and Papou remaining in 1st and 2nd, as they're going to go through the identity yet again. Papou going for a really aggressive line. Ooh, and he's going to drop momentum compared to CarlJr. He could have overtaken him on that, but no, that's not going to be the case. Let's actually see the final set of corners. CarlJr will be forced to respawn. Unbelievable. Papou will get the first place, and Kappa is also down there, and that's going to be Tween. No, CarlJr second place. Tween in... No, Kappa! Kappa will maybe enter third place and Tween in fourth. I can't believe it. It seems as though Tween will be able to get second place. He also get a bit of a rocky ending, and that's going to be it. 105 for CarlJr in first, 70 for Kappa in second, 61 for Papou in third. And now we find that our man is currently sitting in fourth place with 60 points. He must absolutely be livid right now. Let's actually hope he managed to get his back together and get back some big points. We saw a big... We saw a big... It seems as though we have a problem in terms of CarlJr. Maybe a technical issue, as we saw a bit him lagging out and he's going to be forced to respawn. It seems as though we have a technical issue also on Kappa's side. We have two... It seems as though we have a few issues and we got a DNF from Kappa. Is that going to be a remake? I think it is looking to be a remake. It's rips from absolutely everybody. Yeah, everybody has DNF. It is going to be a remake for this round, so the scores haven't changed. 105 for CarlJr, 70 for Kappa, 61 for Papou, 64 for Tween. The round will get remade, Witty. Everyone has DNF'd. It will be a restart. Let's actually hope that everything goes smoothly now. It seems as though we don't have any connection issues so far. And yeah, it seems as though everybody is in the game. So CarlJr remaining in the lead, Papou and Tween and Kappa battling it out less than a 100th of a second again, less than a 10th of a second again between the top four drivers. And now we see that we're going to get into the grass part here. Tween going for the aggressive line, 2 pillars, 3 pillars clear, and that's going to be able to enable him to move up to first place as Kappa goes for a bit of a risk, a bit of an inside line, and now he will turtle. What are you doing, Tween? I can't believe it. Kappa and CarlJr will battle it out for the lead. Papou in third place, a little bit further behind, but still able to make the junction if anyone makes a mistake, and that's unfortunate for Tween. He's down there. I think that's not going to be any points scored for Tween, unfortunately. Yeah, he's he's above 10 seconds down on the leader. That's not what we want to see from him. And CarlJr will be able to not be able to respawn. He's been forced to respawn, sorry. And that's going to be it. Papou will leverage for points. No, Kappa. No, it's going to be Papou who wins the round. Kappa will be forced to respawn, and CarlJr will emerge in second place. Kappa in third. And unfortunately for Tween, it will not be able to score any points. What is this round? The nerves are really getting to him. Yeah, it seems as though he's scrambling under pressure, which is not what we want to see. So, 111 for CarlJr in first place, 74 for Kappa in second place, 71 for Papou in third, and 60 for Tween in fourth as we head into the final round for Just Skating. Maybe the end of the suffering for Tween, as he will be able to focus on another map entirely and get his nerves back together. Yeah, I know it does look like some beta Amateur Cup, but yeah, we can't really do anything about it. It's just one of the memeiest things I've ever seen. Meanwhile, all of the players remain fairly tightly grouped. CarlJr in front of Kappa, Tween, and Papou, who has dropped a bit more momentum than the rest of the people, but will go for the aggressive 3-pillar strap. 1, 2, 3 cleared for Papou. He will be able to move up to second place as he overtakes both CarlJr and Tween, and now he's going to be able to take the fight to Kappa, who's currently sitting in the lead. Tween also emerging a little bit in the fight as well. Potentially, this could be the one good round to score points for him. Let's actually see how everything goes into the final part of this track. Sorry for the long pause here. Let me try to catch my breath. Oh, and it seems that we had a big mistake from CarlJr. Yeah, he's actually full stop picked it. And now let's actually see the identity, how everyone fares. Kappa and Papou in the lead, Tween in third place. It seems as though it's looking good right now. Let's actually see this final identity. And Papou will drop more momentum. Tween going for his ski line. What are you doing? He could have saved it for second place, and that's not going to be the case. If Kappa and Papou will finish first and second, Kappa with a 105.360. CarlJr will emerge in third place, and Tween in fourth. So, after this map, round number 15, 150 points for CarlJr in first place, then 84 for Kappa in second, 77 for Papou in third, and Tween is currently sitting in last place in fourth. As things stands, both Papou and Tween would be sent down to the lower bracket where no mistake would be allowed. So anyways, we finally head into map number 4, which is going to be contest diving, characterized by a grass slide U-turn surrounded by water that is extremely risky to do, and there are actually 2 ways of for people getting it, which we discussed with Tween in step number 5. One is to actually go for the grass slide, an entire grass slide with all 4 wheels on the ground, and the second one going for the curb clip on the first apex and get the back wheel and get only the back wheel grass slide, which rotates the car much faster to get a much tighter turn. Yeah, currently it's going to be one of the pivot maps for Tween right now. He needs to deny some big points to the rest of his competitors, most notably Kappa, who is the biggest threat to him advancing to the winner bracket final, but also Papou. Papou has not got nothing to lose in here. The winner bracket and loser bracket, he will be able to perform regardless. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty good, it's going to be one of the main objectives for Tween right now, deny points for both the Czech and the French driver. Meanwhile, CarlJr doesn't really have much pressure on him right now. All he needs is a second place and 1 round win after that to secure his spot in the winner bracket final, which will be played at 8:30 CET. Thank you, Zira. Words per minute? I know it's a bit of a Rabagon casting. I mean, I got that, and I try to kind of joke around it, but yeah, I do have a bit of a fast talk rate. I can't really do anything about it. I try to slow it down, but it's of no use, so I might as well just try to get my M&M on. And yeah, so the finish here is a bit different with a second jump above the water to actually get to the finish line. And yeah, that's probably going to be one of the main choke points of this particular map, as we saw Papou turtling here as I ride myself. Yeah, don't worry. We're gonna have a big break after the lower bracket final hype, so there's not really much to worry about. Anyways, map number 4, contest diving, is underway, and we're gonna be following Papou from Gamers Origin, the 21-year-old from France. So emerging into the first dirt part with this slight transition on the tarmac, and now onto the second part of the dirt, which with this particular dirt turn with left-hander uphill, and Papou almost clipping the wall on the inside, but thankfully he managed to keep it all together and not drop too much momentum. CarlJr in first place, Papou currently sitting in second, Kappa and Tween in third and fourth. Tween a little bit further behind than the rest, half a second down on the leader, but still remaining in that right group and still able to make the junction if need be. So, CarlJr, Papou, and Kappa, your top 3 as they go into this turn. Now onto Tween in fourth place, who drops a bit more momentum. He wants to really save it and get a bit more points than on just skidding, in which he risked everything to get some big points, and unfortunately it didn't really work out for him. Papou and CarlJr going for the wall bank, Kappa going for the knee, going for the drift, as does Tween, and we're gonna go to the identity. But meanwhile, look at the top 2. Papou emerging in the lead right now in front of CarlJr, but the battle still very much is on as they're gonna go through the checkpoint. Let's actually see everybody getting through the checkpoint clearly from the perspective of Tween. Let's actually see the identity. Who will get it? No, Tween will be forced to respawn, and that's gonna be it for our man. Meanwhile, in the front, Papou and CarlJr once again battling it out for the lead for the final jump here. Oh, CarlJr with a bit of a wider line here, going for the 2 jumps, and that's gonna be it for him. It's going to be finalist mode for CarlJr in first place, Papou second, Kappa third, and Tween will be able to cross the finish line. Hopefully, yes, he will, in fourth place. And there we go, finalist mode for CarlJr. 1-1 win is mandatory for him to secure his spot in the winner bracket final. Kappa second with 88, Papou third with 83, and Tween in fourth place with 66. So, now it's all about this man, Carl-Anthony Cloutier, aka CarlJr, 23-year-old from Canada, 3-time world champion, 5-time Zerator Cup champion. It's all about him and winning this round in order to get into the winner bracket final a little bit later on in the day. Papou, meanwhile, emerging slightly in the lead. CarlJr in second place, Tween in third, Kappa fourth. Tween remaining in the right group right now, less than 2/10 of a second down on the leader. It seems as though Kappa has a bit of rocky landing, and Tween will be getting the pinball effect, and that's going to drop him down to P4. That's actually, he's going to have to rely on mistakes from others as he makes a mistake himself. It seems as though it's going to be game over for him right now, unless a mistake happens from the top 3 here. Papou and CarlJr again battling it out with each other, and Papou could potentially be the one to deny and make suffer CarlJr even more, as they're going to both go for the drift here on this particular turn. And now we're going to get into the identity yet again for this second time. Remember, this is Papou's pick, so this could be the one where he gets some big points together. And it seems as though CarlJr has managed to re-emerge in the lead. Let's actually see the identity here. Who will flounder? It seems that both will get it perfectly, but Papou got more momentum than CarlJr, and that could be the one thing that was needed to deny. But CarlJr is having none of that. He's going to go for a different line here, and he's going to be able to cross the 2 checkpoints, and that's going to be it. CarlJr in the winner bracket final at 8:30 CET. Papou emerging in second place. Kappa third and Tween in fourth place. So now only one place remaining, second place, and it's going to be the one that's going to be the most important. Kappa currently sitting in the favorite seat with 92 points in second place, 89 points for Papou in third, and 69 for Tween in fourth. Il est chaud le bougre, il est chaud, putain, qu'est-ce qu'il a sorti? Okay, sorry. Now we move on to the matches for second place. Now we see that we're not quite into the danger zone yet, into the danger realm yet for Tween, even though he's currently sitting in last place with 69. Kappa only has 92 points, so he does need to back some critical points right here, right now. Meanwhile, Papou currently sitting in the lead. Then Tween have made a mistake, and that's going to drop him down behind Kappa. Kappa emerging in second place, 1/10 of a second down on the leader. And Tween, it seems as though he's floundering under pressure. He's cracking under pressure, unlike what's stated in the TrackMania, in the TrackMania advertisement. Sorry about that reference. Anyways, currently Tween, it seems as though it's game over for him right now. Papou in the lead, 2/10 of a second in front of Kappa, and they're gonna go into the wall right now. Papou in the lead, Kappa in second place in hot pursuit, and it seems as though Papou will remain in the lead as they're gonna go both for the drift. Kappa with a bit of an inner line, but Papou with much more momentum as a result of that slide, and he's going to be able to remain in the lead as they're going to go into the identity for the first time. Yeah, it's the Kappa duel here, as we're going to see Papou and Kappa dropping momentum, and Kappa clipping the checkpoint, but that's going to be it for the momentum loss. He didn't lose much, thankfully, and Papou will still emerge in first place. As we see Tween in the background going through the identity for the first time, and he has actually dropped a lot of momentum, and he's not going to be able to score any points. Meanwhile, Kappa and Papou will go for the end. Kappa will be able to overtake Papou in the end. Papou not having the best line here. Kappa in first place with 123.505. Second place for Papou, and Tween will be able to cross. Yes, he will be able to cross the line and score 4 points regardless. So 102 points for Kappa in first place, 95 for Papou in second, and Tween in third place, fourth place, sorry, with 73. Second, third, and fourth. Duh. No, it's not. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I got debated. Wallbangs are completely forbidden. I said wallbang in the first round, but you're absolutely right, Witty. They're absolutely not allowed in the playoffs. I'm completely sorry about that. That was a bit of a mistake. Anyways, moving on to round number 4 of contest diving. Currently, Kappa emerging as the firm favorite for that second winner bracket final spot. Meanwhile, it is a really tight pack here between Papou and Kappa. Currently battling it out less than a 1/10 of a second again between the 3 drivers as Papou emerges slightly in the lead. But then you can see that the cars are weaving in and out of each other as Tween has a bit of a worse exit, a worse transition compared to the top 2. And that's going to drop him down to third place. But he remains in that right group right now. He is going to be able to pounce if anybody makes a mistake, like we saw Kappa with the checkpoint clip before the identity round earlier. So yeah, it's still all to play for right now for Tween, and he needs to get his act back together and score some big points right now in order to secure himself and avoid the lower bracket gauntlet. And it seems as though he will be able to overtake Kappa with a much wider line here, going for much more momentum. I really like that strat from Tween. Meanwhile, Papou will go through the checkpoint here and drop so much more momentum, and that's going to allow Kappa and Tween for the lead here as they're going to go through the identity. No, Tween will be forced to respawn, and that's going to be it. And Kappa will be able to overtake Papou in the identity, getting much more momentum than him. And now it's down to the finish lines. Kappa will go for the left, going for the right is Papou, and Kappa will go for the risky jump, and he's going to pay off with 112 points for him right now. Kappa in first, Papou second, and Tween will be crossing the line in third place to score 4 points. So then, 112 points for Kappa in first place, then Papou in second place with 101, second place for Kappa with 112, third place for Papou with 101, and fourth place for Tween with 77. As we move on to the final round of contest diving, and we're going to see the fifth and final map being played. This could be the round to put Kappa into finalist mode as well, and we'll only need one more round, and as a result, he would need only one more round to secure his position in the winner bracket finals and send the 2 others, Papou and Tween, into the lower bracket, as Tween has got a bit of a worse start than everyone else. Currently sitting half a second down on the leader. Currently Papou, who's sitting with a bit of a buffer to him. Less than a tenth of a second now between Papou and Kappa, and the battle will be on in the second part of this map, as they're gonna go through the wall ride in a matter of seconds right now. And Kappa getting a much better line and a much more confident drift than Papou, and he will be able to overtake him into the wall ride. But Kappa going for a much wider line than Papou. That's gonna allow the French driver to get back into contention and have a much more momentum into this drift, and that's going to be the battle right here, right now, for the lead, as they're going to go through the identity for the final time here in this first semi-final. As we see both people getting through the checkpoint clearly, and we're going to go through the identity yet again for both of these players. Who will get it? Who will flounder? And Kappa will be forced to respawn. No, actually, Kappa will be fine. I thought he was actually falling out over the water, and it's going to be Kappa who moves on to finalist mode after this end, as Papou clips the end, and Kappa will be able to win. Papou in second, and Tween will not be able to score any points again. He's 12.2 seconds down on the leader, and that's going to be it for Tween. So, finalist mode for Kappa, and Papou third place with 107, and Tween fourth with 77, unfortunately. And we're moving on to map number 5, and this is going to be the map that was randomized, I think. Yeah, it is Bright Side by Table, characterized by a transfer jump and a pretty dividing section that has two possibilities. One with the trick jump that we saw Matt pull off in the regular season, and the other one with a bit of a safer strat going on the blue borders. So then, current state of affairs right now. Kappa in finalist, Papou on 107, Tween on 77. Tween needs to step up right now and score the big points. And he needs to deny the finalist he needs to deny the round wins, especially. He has absolutely no margin for error. Both Kappa and Tween have no margin for error here, as Kappa is on one round away from winning his spot into the winner bracket final and send both of these players here down onto the loser bracket, and it's going to be up to Tween and Papou. Papou has Tween is going to have two jokers in the form of Papou. Papou can deny 2 times Kappa, and then it's going to be all up to Tween to deny both of those players and get back into and potentially make it into a triple finalist, and it's going to be the real gauntlet as we speak. Yep, there is a loser bracket. It's a double elimination bracket, and the loser bracket final will be played at 4 p.m. CET, which is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern for all of you guys over in America. As we're going to go through the identity for the third time now, you can see people will actually go for the safer strat of the blue part, and we actually saw that Matt got for the trickster jump at the first bump, and it seems as though it's not really something that a lot of people seem to have wanted to regu. So yeah, a little bit of hydration for the final map, for potentially the final map of this first semifinal. Anyways, map number 5 getting underway, and we're going to be following the man to which all of those eyes are pointed towards, and it is Kappa. Mat jump is forbidden here? Okay. Thank you for the information, Witty. I didn't know about that. So yeah, Kappa currently sitting in the verge of the winner bracket final at 8:30 CET. Meanwhile, Papou and Tween have got it all to do. 2 instances for Papou to deny him, and then it's going to be up to Tween to stay in and to actually be the denier of both of these players. Currently, Tween emerging in the lead, then 1/10 of a second in front of Papou, but Papou got more momentum, and Tween will clip the end of the wall. He will be able to clear the 2, but he's going to be dropping down a lot of momentum as a result, and that's going to drop him down 1.2 seconds down the leader. Papou currently sitting in first place, 2/10 of a second in front of Kappa. It's going to be up to the French player to actually deny Kappa and to keep Tween's dream alive of making it to the winner bracket final outright. As they're gonna go through the loop here, and they're gonna go through the identity for the first out of 5 times, out of a potential 5 times. Papou currently emerging in the lead, Kappa in second place, Tween down in third place, 3 seconds down. He's forced to respawn. He doesn't have enough speed. He might not score any points as a result of that. We have to follow that. Meanwhile, Papou will get to the identity perfectly and will deny Kappa into the world winner bracket final. Papou in first, Kappa second, and a DNF from Tween, a retirement. That's not what we wanted to see, and Papou will move into second place with 117 points, 1 round away from finalists, and thus 2 rounds away from actually getting into the winner bracket instead of Kappa. So then, round number 2 out of 5 on Bright Side. As we're still following the man that has everything to lose here. Kappa, Beta Season Champion, 2018 World Champion, 2019 World Team Cup Champion alongside Tween and CZSK. This could be the round to make it all in the winner bracket, or that could be the one to send, or those could be the 2 rounds to send him down into the loser bracket if Papou rises up to the challenge and scores the 2-round wins. Tween emerging in the lead right now. This time he learned the lesson from this particular part after the jump and does not clip the wall, and he emerges in the lead 1/10 of a second in front of Papou, and Kappa will remain in 3rd place 3/10 of a second down on the leader. And we see that Tween and Papou are going at it. Tween giving it his all to score the big points and deny both Papou and Kappa some vital point scoring. Kappa denying Kappa the spot and denying Papou the finalist position. Let's actually see how Tween goes into this loop here. Let's actually see how everything will go through the identity. Let's actually see. Let's hope Tween will get enough momentum. Yes, he does. He will be able to clear it, but let's actually see how Papou goes through this identity. It seems as though he was the one to get it much better than the rest, and Tween will be... he will remain on his wheels, but Papou will move up to 1st, and that's going to be finalist mode for Papou. Double finalist. It's going to be Kappa versus Papou for the remaining slots in the winner bracket final. As he moves into finalist mode with 127 points, Tween will be remaining in 4th place and score 6 points and move up to 83 points tally. And now, Mexican standoff between Papou and Kappa. Valerian Ramamonji, 21 years old. Papou versus Martin Krompolch, 24 years old. As we see that the group remains packed after the first few checkpoints here, let's actually see the perspective from our man Tween here. Yeah, the Papou duel returns, and this time the stakes are really high as there is a one. Well, there's the remaining plus, and Kappa will actually fail! He will fall outside, he will go for the respawn, and that's going to be up to Tween. No, and Tween will fail it! It seems as though Papou will be able to emerge in the lead, and will get into the winner bracket, but remember, there's still half of the lap to go, so we'll have to see how everything goes, and Kappa has DNF'd, so yeah, that's going to be an early retirement for the Czech driver, and that's going to be it pretty much. 12-15 seconds down. I don't see how everyone can catch that. It seems as though he will be able to save it. He must have had the information. Okay, you got the... Okay, you got Tween and Kappa who both crashed. Kappa has DNF, only goes safe right now. And now you can give a round of applause for Papou. He had a pretty rocky start at the start of this semifinal, but in the end it all came together, and he's going to be moving on to the winner bracket final alongside CarlJr. And here it is. Papou crossing the line in 1st place, taking his time, and here we go. Your 2 winner bracket finalists will be CarlJr. and Papou, a completely French-speaking duo for the winner bracket final, and unfortunately, the defending champion does not have the start that he wanted, and along with Tween, he will be sent to the loser bracket finals for the playoffs. So then, as we're gonna move back to the camera scene, dry throat already. And sorry for the focus, it kind of goes a bit haywire. Baguette went... Well, CarlJr. won the first thing, remember. So, not entirely Baguette. Be careful what you say, Master Sanko. Non, mais en vrai, donc Papou qui passe donc en winner bracket. Sorry for the French. So yeah, winner bracket finals for Papou and CarlJr. as I'm going to be going into the Photoshop to update the bracket. And so our man Tween and Kappa will get back into be sent into the loser bracket. So I'm gonna take this time to update it. I'm also gonna be I'm gonna take a bit of a quick break. Let me just bring up this the break screen. There we go. So we're currently taking a break of a few minutes, and after that we're gonna get back with semifinal 2 of the playoffs. Stay with us. All right, we are back with the TrackMania Grand League playoffs. That makes sure we switch to the face cam. So, first semifinal is completely done, and we're going to move on into the second semifinal in a little bit. But before we get into that, let's actually take a look at the brackets after the updates after semifinal 1. So, Papou and CarlJr move on to the winner bracket final after emerging in the top 2 of semifinal 1, and unfortunately for Kappa and Tween, they are finding themselves in the bottom 2 and will go into the lower bracket final, and no mistake can be done for both of these players. Now we're going to move on to semifinal 2, which is going to oppose riolu to Aurel, Scrapie, and Spam. So, before that, so we had a bit of a quick break. Let's actually see if we got any info on when the next match is going to be playing. It seems as though we're going to be playing in 5 minutes, and yeah. We're going to be just waiting for more info for this moment. And meanwhile, we're also going to get a bit of an interview going on. Let's actually hear a little bit from one of the players of this second semifinal. Currently 6th in the seeding, it is going to be Scrapie from Belgium.
The playoff phase for the TrackMania Grand League's first official season is taking place today. Starts at 2 o'clock. One of the players who is qualified is a Belgian player, Scrapie, the only Orgless player here. Scrapie, how are you feeling? Starting to warm up a little bit. How is the warm-up going?
Warm-up's going really good so far. I feel really prepared for today, especially for the semi-final. After that, I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, looking at the first semi-final that you're going to play against Aurel, Spam, and riolu, how would you say it? I would even call you the favorite. Do you see yourself as the favorite?
Yeah, sadly, yes, because that puts a lot of pressure on me. If I look at the training done, I feel like I'm forced to get top 2 in this match, so it's a bit more pressure. But yeah, I think I can manage that.
Can you tell people how has the preparation been? You're not signed up for the Lyon eSport tournament like CarlJr and others, but how prepared are you for the overall, or for the TrackMania Grand League tournament?
I prepared good for the TrackMania Grand League, not much in the last week or last days, because yeah, also the reason why I'm going early, because I have an exam on Monday morning, so I need to leave. It's an 8-hour drive, so can't wait till Sunday. Yeah, but otherwise I'm prepared. I spend a lot of time.
Yeah. You are the only Orgless player here. Is that a motivation factor for you? Because now there's going to be a lot of spectators showing in, maybe a lot of new potential orgs coming in, that you maybe want to prove yourself, maybe want to show to new orgs that, hey, I'm one of the best players in the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I want to get a good position here so they can see that I'm worth it, and that I can also perform on LAN events, because I don't think I've won a real match on a LAN event. So yeah.
But looking at the other semi-final and then your own final, who would you say is the overall favorite to win the TrackMania Grand League?
It's either Kappa or CarlJr. Those two should be on top.
Yeah.
Looking at the times they have and the consistency they have performed over the last years in tournaments like this.
People, after the Serra T Cup, you had some technical problems. Now it's back at the big stage again. How will you deal with that mentally? That last time you was on stage was some technical problems, maybe not the best experience for you. Will you put that behind you? Will it affect your gameplay today?
It won't affect me, but it's always like this.
Yeah.
It's always something random coming up when I go to a LAN event. Both East WCs I went to earlier, like some years ago, both times my controller broke.
Yeah.
The Serra T event, okay, the first one I didn't join, the second one, well, technical problems. Now here, technical problems in the first place. It's working now, but yeah. It's always like this. Something goes wrong every time.
Yeah, tell me about it. 3 microphones, all of them broken, but yeah. Any final prediction? Last question for me. Who is going to be the eventual winner of the TrackMania Grand League? Is it going to be yourself?
Probably not. I think in the end, CarlJr is going to win it. It's probably going to be as usual.
As usual, boring. But there you have it. Scrapie will play the second semi-final. You can follow all the semi-finals on Twitch. Grand final is at 10:30. That's it. Bye-bye.
So then, that was a word from Scrapie, 21-year-old Dennis Heinen from Belgium, currently 6th seed in the overall playoffs, and that's going to be one of the players that are currently taking part in the second semi-final with riolu, Spam, and Aurel. So we're currently in the server. We're going to be waiting for the pick and ban phase to get started, and yeah, we're just connected on the server after a brief shutdown. We're also going to get back into the music here. Imagine not being able to play for 7.5 hours now because you want to. Relatable. That's actually a pretty good food thought here. I guess he does have something to occupy himself at least. So, yeah, I don't think that he will be out of the zone too much. But yeah, he will actually get onto an early break for him, as we're gonna get back into the semifinals with semifinal number 2, which is going to come up in a few seconds with a pick and ban phase. We're currently sitting on the screen right now, which you don't see because I'm currently on the webcam phase, but we're just waiting for all of the players to actually move and for all of the pick and ban bans to actually show up on the stream. And it's meanwhile, excuse the noise just outside because yeah, I live in the family house. Must be completely said, and yeah, there's a bit of movement going on. So yeah, not much I can do here. Anyways, I want to see you guys' returns on feedback on how the stream is going so far for you. Do you guys enjoy the casts? Is there any technical issue that did arise that you wanted to point out, or is there anything you want to actually say to me? So yeah, there you go. Now it's your time to talk. Well, we barely hear it. Oh, you barely hear it? Okay, so everything going on. Oh, okay, we did get the bans. It turns out, well, we did get a few bans here. Well, the maps are gonna come up. We did see all of the maps appear in a second, but no nicknames, so we're gonna have to wait and see to the... do you guys have a Fortnite team? I don't think we have. I must be said, I didn't really look into the Pittsburgh Knights too much. I'm a bit of an external guy here, but I do think that we have a Fortnite team. We do have a Smite team, and we have a Rocket League team. A really good Rocket League team comprising of Reddles, AJ, and Gyro, who actually are kicking in the RLCS, so yeah. Maybe more often spec close fights. Yeah, I'll try to do my best. So it seems as though the pick and ban phase are proceeding, even though we didn't get any of the nicknames associated. Let's actually move on to the game scene. So we see that the first 3 maps that are banned are Just Skidding, Descend, and Sky Euro. So one of the maps that was played in semi-final 1 is the it's gonna be Just Skidding, and it's gonna be banned. Ouais, mais en fait, je connais pas les World Records. Vu que les World Records, il n'y a pas de Dédimania pour pouvoir les prendre, donc je suis désolé, USD, mais c'est pas possible. Anyway, could you show again the organization of the TMGL, please? Oh yeah, the brackets, you mean? Okay, so a playoff match is played across 5 maps, with 5 rounds being played on each map. Completely forgot. Okay, so semifinal 1 has been played, semifinal 2 will be played in just a minute. Then we're gonna get the loser bracket final in played first. Then on the stage we're gonna get winner bracket final, console edition, and the grand final. Meanwhile, we're gonna have to go back in game real quick as the picks and bans are happening. So Just Skidding, Descent, Sky, Euro, and Brightside are currently the banned maps, and we see that Bunny Hop has been picked, Stargaze has been picked, Rock and Roll gets picked yet again, and we're gonna just be waiting on the final map pick for the match. It seems as though Siget, it seems as though the bot is not really fond of emerging leaks, so yeah. Oh, it seems as though we don't get much in terms of man, the bans are really fluctuating today. I don't really see what's going on. Well, okay, so Bunny Hop gets back. So picks are Bunny Hop, Stargaze, Rock and Roll, and Control Tower for the map picks. And the final map, which will be randomized, we're gonna have to wait a few seconds here for the map to show up. So Bunny Hop, Stargaze, Rock and Roll, Control Tower, and Mini XXL will be your match maps for semi-final number 2. I'm really sorry about the slow stutters. Parents US, parents FR? Non, full français. Full français, Hugo. Mais j'apprécie les mots. Okay, so now that the maps have been selected, we can start the map, and it's going to be kicking off with Bunny Hop, which is map number 1. A map characterized with an identity comprising of a bunch of bumpers that you actually saw a little bit earlier on in the presentation video of the format. And yeah, current average lap pace, we're actually going to see how everything goes. Let's actually see. In terms of average lap pace, we're currently expecting around the 109s to 110s per round. So yeah, we're going to be going into the spectators. So Spam, 2012 World Champion, 7th in the overall standings. Then we got Aurel, currently sitting in 3rd place as a result of the regular season. Scrapie in 6th place in the regular season semi-finalist of the ZRT Cup 2019. And riolu, 2nd place in the standings. Really well-versed player. First man to beat the 200 Super Trackmaster challenges in the TrackMania Turbo game, with the last Trackmaster beaten in March of 2019, 5th of March 2019 to be exact. So then, one of the most, possibly the most consistent player in the entire Grand League, bagging the most amount of points, bagging one of the most amount of points in the Grand League, not actually losing the least. I wanted to say 2 second places, 2 third places, won 4th place, and step 5 was only the only black mark against the almost perfect, picture perfect season for riolu with 14th place and only 3 points collected. So yeah, we're gonna see that the warm-up will get pretty much done as people have retired. Spam did retire, and we'll see that the warm-up is done on riolu. We're gonna be seeing Aurel and Scrapie cross the finish line, and as Spam retired, we're gonna get started with semi-final 2. Now we're gonna get into the big claps here. Even though Tween didn't go really well in the first semi-final, you're gonna be in for a treat for this second semi-final as we see some of the underdogs battle it out, and it's gonna be really exciting. Currently, the pack remaining fairly grouped as the result of a first corner going to the underground part. Some people will negotiate better than others, using the dirt as a bit of a way to initiate a slide and then grip back onto the road to get a much tighter turn. Scrapie and riolu emerging in the lead, less than a tenth of a second separating them. Then we find Aurel and Spam in 3rd and 4th place. And now onto the dirt section, Scrapie emerging slightly in the lead ahead of riolu, and now you see that the top 2 battle is emerging really hot. riolu, Aurel, and Spam. Spam having a bit of a slower uphill here, and he's going to jump down to 4th place. Aurel in 3rd place, riolu in 2nd. Meanwhile, Scrapie, the Belgian player, 0.3 of a second in front of riolu, will remain in the lead. They go into the uphill, and now they're gonna go into this particular jump here, orient the car towards the right to set up for maybe a bit of a slide, slight slide for the Belgian player. Let's actually see if there are any fails behind. Oh, riolu dropping a lot of momentum compared to Spam, and that's going to allow Spam to move up to 2nd place. Aurel also emerging ahead of the German player, and that's going to drop riolu down to 4th place as they're going to go through the identity for the 3rd time on the bumpers. Let's actually see how everything goes. Slow down, get to the early parts of the H booster, and that's going to be it for Scrapie. And Aurel dropped a lot of momentum. He's forced to respawn. Scrapie first, riolu 2nd, Spam in 3rd, and now we're going to see Aurel potentially cross the line. Yes, he will cross the line in 4th position as a result of that respawn, and that's going to be 10, 6, 4, 3. Scrapie first with 10, riolu 2nd with 6, Spam 3rd with 4, and Aurel 4th with 3 points. As we move on to round number 2 of Bunny Hop, currently speaking with Aurel, player from teamgamingprivé.com, Aurélien Bouard, 21 ans. 22 ans, pardon. Bon anniversaire. So yeah, 22-year-old, now 22-year-old, the birthday boy, Aurel, player of teamgamingprivé.com, currently not having the best first round in the world, having been forced to respawn at the identity after a failed bumper, and that's going to be it. And that actually sealed the deal and only allowed him to score 3 points as a result of the first round. Meanwhile, Scrapie emerging in the lead, but actually touching the wall, and that's going to allow riolu to move back up to 2nd and Aurel into 3rd place. Meanwhile, Spam is a little bit behind, a little bit further behind than usual, and he's going to be waiting to pace his game as riolu drops a lot of momentum compared to Scrapie and Aurel, and that's going to allow Aurel to move up to 2nd place, and Spam will reap the benefits as he moves up to 3rd place, but actually goes for a wide line, and he's been forced to actually release and lose a lot of momentum compared to riolu, and now, oh, the clip from Spam, and that's going to be the double pinball effect for the Dutch player, and that's going to be it for his chances, unless a mistake arises from any of the remaining 3 players here, as they're going to the identity for the second time, sorry. Let's actually see if Aurel makes another mistake here. It seems that Aurel will get the identity perfectly, but actually look at riolu. Oh, it was really close. Aurel first, riolu 2nd, Scrapie getting overtaken over the last bumper in 3rd place, and Spam will cross the line in 4th after that mistake before the looping. So Scrapie 1st place with 14 points, 2nd place for Aurel with 13th, riolu 3rd place with 12, and Spam in 4th place with 7 points. After round number 2, as we enter into round number 3. So then, 2 points separating the top 3 here. So pretty stacked already after 2 rounds, and it seems as though we're seeing a very much more open-ended start to the semi-final compared to what we saw over in the first semi-final with most especially CarlJr claiming the clean sweep on map number 1 of that semi-final. Yeah, currently Scrapie emerging in the lead, riolu and Aurel battling it out together for 2nd place in the same 100th of a second, and Aurel will get a bit of an advantage and emerging in the lead. Meanwhile, Spam 0.4 of a second down the leader, a little bit further behind, and gets the clip on the inside, and it's going to drop a lot of momentum. That's going to be it for Spam, unless another mistake from a top 3 arises. Meanwhile, Scrapie and Aurel remaining in the top 1 and 2. Scrapie emerging in the lead, but look at Aurel grabbing a bunch more time back from the Belgian, and that's going to be over to the identity to decide which player emerges the victor. We saw that Scrapie he was prone to losing a lot of momentum on those bumpers. Let's actually see if it's the case. Yeah, it seems as though Aurel got the identity much better than anyone else. He was going to be over the finish. That's going to be Scrapie first, riolu second, Spam third, and Aurel will cross the line in fourth place after landing on top of the finish line. I can't believe it myself. So then, 24 points for Scrapie in first place, 18 points for riolu in second, 16 points for Aurel in third, 11 points for Spam in fourth place as we move on to round number 4 with, we're going to be speccing on the Diffuse Kids driver, Spam, Team Lodenburg, 25-year-old from the Netherlands, 2012 world champion, currently sitting in 11th place with, currently sitting with 11 points on fourth place, unfortunately for him, not having the best start after 2 consecutive mistakes in 2 consecutive rounds. And two mistakes of the same nature, which were actually, clipping the inside of a hole, and that's gonna drop a lot of momentum on his side. And Scrapie remaining in the lead, riolu and Spam battling it out with 2. And Aurel has made a mistake that I completely forgot and I didn't show on camera, and yet Aurel currently finding himself down in 4th position, not on the wrong end of the stick, so to speak. Meanwhile, riolu has emerged in the lead, and look at the top 3 battle. This is looking pretty spicy right now, as Spam has a bit of a wider line than anyone else. Scrapie and riolu battling it out for the lead. Spam with a bit of a risky line. He's touched the pole, I think. And I think he did touch the pole, and that's going to drop a bit momentum. He still remains in 3rd place, though, as they're going to go through the identity yet again for the 4th time. As riolu tries to emerge in front of Scrapie, let's actually see from the Belgian player's perspective. riolu guiding the identity much better than the Belgian player, and he's going to cross the finish line in the lead. Scrapie second, Spam third, and Aurel will get in 4th place, it seems. Yeah, Aurel did cross the line. I couldn't actually catch that. So yeah, 30 points for Scrapie in 1st place, riolu second with 28 points, Aurel third with 19, Spam 4th with 15. All intentional wallbangs are forbidden. Yeah. You could do them in the steps, but in the playoffs, you can't. It is absolutely no bueno. Instant loss and banned from the match. Yeah. Thank you very much, Witty, for the reminder about the wallbang situation. As we're going to be speccing on the leader of this semifinal, Scrapie, 30 points for him. Having a really good start with 2 consecutive round wins, but then having a bit of a shaky start, having a bit of a problem with the identity. Dropping a bit more momentum compared to the rest of the people, and that's gonna drop them out of contention of round win of 2 consecutive round wins. But nevertheless, he managed to record some big points and remain in 1st place with 30 points. Sorry for the stammering. I'm trying to get used to speaking really well. Oh, riolu! I can't believe it. Mr. Streamer, Burim himself, makes a mistake. The most consistent player in the entire semifinal, remember, and that's gonna be Scrapie and Spam to battle it out for the lead with Aurel in 3rd place in hot pursuit. I can't believe that riolu has made a mistake like that. Clipping the inside of the wall, and he manages to re-emerge without having to respawn, but still, an uncharacteristic mistake from the German player as we go through the identity for the 5th and final time. It seems as though Spam has got a little bit of a lead, and it's going to be Spam who crosses the finish line first. Aurel will overtake Scrapie on the line for 1/100th of a second. Aurel second, Scrapie third, and riolu will cross the line in 4th place. He manages to still cross the line, and yeah, not really the ideal thing. So, 34 points for Scrapie in 1st place. Then we find riolu in 2nd place with 31, and on 25 points equal, we find Spam in 3rd and Aurel in 4th place as we head into map number 2. Map number 2 is going to be Starcase, which was another map that was picked, and yeah, it's one of those that where the modification has been made compared to the steps, and we're going to see that into the identity as we go into Camp 7 for a little bit. You can see there weren't any walls here. Now there's walls here. There's walls now on this particular jump, so you cannot shortcut here the same way you did in the step, where you can actually go for the jump here and then here and here. Now you're actually forced to go for the U-turn slides here, which may be beneficial for some players or a bit fearsome for some, as we're going to go through the replay camera right here. There we go. So then, after map number 1, 34 points for Scrapie in the lead, who had a bit of a who has emerged pretty strong here, as did riolu, despite that rather uncharacteristic mistake, and as of round number 5 of the first map. Spam and Aurel not having the best start of the maps, start of the semifinal that they were hoping. Currently sitting in 25 with 25 points equal in both 3rd and 4th place respectively. And with this map and the particular change that has been made to the identity with the walls being blocked off and the entire strat being removed. It's up going to be to the execute. It's now all going to be about the execution of those drifts and getting the right line around the poles. That's going to be entirely critical to get the best run. I might need another water bottle, actually. Sorry about that. Completely forgot that I almost ran out of water. As we see that riolu going for the first dirt here, and you see, this is one of those things that is really easy to do. Clip the inside of the hole remainder of the corner, and actually clipping and moving the front wheels off the ground, dropping momentum as a result in the finish. And the final turn is especially difficult because you need to straighten the car almost as soon as you clip the apex in order to actually get to the finish line in safety. Thank you, Jansbets. Thank you for the words. We're going to move on to map number 2 here, as we're going to be spectating from Mr. Streamer Boremievsa, aka riolu, 24-year-old player from Germany, representing Team Nordeben. First jump here, around 280 kilometers an hour to clear it perfectly. There it is. And now we're going to go into the first dirt part with a dirt mound that's going to need around 200 kilometers an hour to actually clear perfectly. You can actually see Borin going from the right to left and Scrapie getting a bit of a dodgy line, but still remaining in the lead. And Papou, riolu will get into the lead, overtaking Scrapie. Scrapie in second place, 1/10 of a second down on the leader. And then we find Spam and Aurel. Aurel a little bit further behind compared to everyone else, but still waiting to bounce right in the right group and still able to catch up. As we go through the loop for the first time, everybody getting pretty safely here. Only Aurel a little bit lagging behind, not having the best start that he was hoping for. But now we're going to move on to the second part. Throwing in, we see Spam turning in a little bit early and actually clipping the hole, entering the hole here on the inside. And that's going to be it for the Dutch player, unless another mistake arises from the remaining 3 players. Scrapie, Aurel, and riolu. Riolu in the lead around second place. Scrapie in third, and we're going to go through the identity for the first time. And Aurel has actually made a mistake. He clips the inside wall and drops a lot of momentum. And that's going to be riolu versus Scrapie for the identity, as we're going to go here. Scrapie with more momentum onto the first line. There go. There's going to be pretty much done from both of pretty much well done from both of these players. riolu remaining in the lead up to the final corner now. We will see a mistake, and riolu drops a little momentum. That's going to allow Scrapie to move into the lead at the finish line. Scrapie first, riolu second, Aurel third, and Spam will cross the line in fourth. So then, 44 points for Scrapie in first place. Then we find riolu second with 37. Then 29 points for Aurel in third, and 28 for Spam in fourth. riolu going for the really safe thing of actually releasing. Well, maybe he actually clipped the inside of the hole. Maybe I didn't manage to actually discern that, and that's allowed Scrapie to go with full force and actually snatch the map away from riolu and snatch the first place away and get those 10 points. Meanwhile, we started round number 2 with everyone going pretty much at the same pace, 210 kilometers an hour for Spam, clearing the jump pretty much perfectly. Really nice landing from him. riolu going for a bit of an inner line with much more momentum, allowing him to overtake Scrapie for the lead, and Spam following suit. And now we find a really good battle for the top 3 places. Aurel a little bit further behind, but Spam, riolu, and Scrapie battling it out really hard for the lead places. Entering the loop now for the second time in a row, and you can see everyone is backed up 400ths of a second between those 3 players. It's a really, really, really tight pack here. And now the margins will start to spread a little bit here as we enter into the fast-flowing section of the map. And this time Spam going through here perfectly, but Scrapie with a much better line than both riolu and Spam, and that's going to enable him to overtake them both and get into the lead as they're going to go into the final part of the map. And Spam emerges back into the lead. The battle still rages on for the Benelux Confederation, as I like to call it. Spam from Netherlands, Scrapie from Belgium, sorry. Scrapie from Belgium, Spam from the Netherlands. Yeah, I got it right. As they go to the identity for the first time here, let's actually see how everything goes. The drifts are pretty much perfectly negotiated, but Scrapie's got a bit of an advantage here. Onto the second turn, he misses those poles, and that's going to allow him to get much more momentum onto the final corner, and that's going to be Scrapie again. Round 2 out of 2 on this map for Scrapie. Scrapie first, Spam second, riolu third, and Aurel crossing in fourth place. So 54 points for Scrapie in first place, then riolu with 41 points is in second place. Then we find another lead change here with another position change with Spam in third place with 34, and Aurel fourth with 32. Moving on to round number 3 then. Currently, Aurel and Spam are not really looking good in terms of the point standings. Remember, it's only map 2, anything can happen, but still, it seems as though we got a tendency to see Scrapie and riolu emerging really big time in here, especially Scrapie who is more than galvanized after the recent performances that he had over in the TMGL. After the departing from Team Existence, especially, imagine an Orgless player winning TMGL. I mean, realistically, it could happen, right? As long as Scrapie doesn't make any mistakes and comes up, plays the best of his game, he will be able to get into the finals. Or, unless the screen issues pop up again. Yeah, he was one of those players that was having issues with his monitor, with 144 Hz seeming a little bit stuttery due to problems with textures not really refreshing on time with the 144. The fix was actually bumping the frame rate down to 120 Hz, which actually helped everything smooth. Meanwhile, Spam emerging in a really good lead, 0.2 of a second in front of riolu, Scrapie in 3rd place, Aurel in 4th place as they're going to attack the final part of the map, and it seems as though Aurel has much a better line than riolu, but look at this pack for top 2. Now it's going to be up to Spam to withstand the pressure through the identity to win his first round on this map. As they're all going through the identity here. First drift negotiated by Spam really nicely here. Then we're going to go into the second drift here for the Dutch player. Let's actually see from the perspective of someone here. riolu, Spam going really well, and that's going to be the one way for Spam. Aurel in 2nd, Scrapie 3rd, and riolu in 4th position. Half a second between 1st and last, and Spam with a 127.751. So then, after round number 3 of Starcase, we're going to still see... Oh, I got a connection issue. Hello? Okay, we are back. It seems as though, huh? Okay, so we're gonna continue casting regardless. So currently riolu, Scrapie, Aurel, and Spam in the right group, and Spam a little bit further behind compared to anyone else. 0.2 of a second behind the rest of the players. Meanwhile, it seems as though my connection is kind of fucking up, and yeah. Ah, damn it. Okay, we're back. Sorry, guys. So yeah, I have a bit of a connection issue right here. So yeah, we're back. Hello, welcome back, stream. So yeah, sorry, I completely missed the first half of the entire thing, but it's completely recorded here. So yeah, Scrapie, Aurel, Spam, and riolu in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. riolu and Spam battling it out with each other. Scrapie re-emerging in the lead as we enter into the identity for the 4th time in this semi-final here. Let's actually see from the perspective of Scrapie. riolu and Spam equal on points, it must be noted here. 44 points equal for them, and Scrapie negotiating those routes perfectly as we enter the final corner, and he's going to be winning the round in front of Aurel in 2nd, Spam in 3rd, and riolu in 4th place. Sorry for the connection drops. It seems as though my ISP completely fucked up. Really sorry about guys. Really sorry about that, guys. Couldn't really do anything. So Scrapie first with 68 points. Then we find Spam in 2nd place with 48, riolu 3rd with 47, and Aurel 4th with 44, so the battle is still on for 2nd place. I'm really sorry about the connection drop. It was pretty much my router that's kind of crapped out. I only way back in was to turn off and turn on, and yeah, everything came back great. Sorry about that, guys. I'm really sorry for the org. Sorry, Garrett. Sorry, Kate. I didn't mean to do that. So that, oh, Scrapie having a much worse landing than the rest of the pack, and dropping from 1st to 4th just like that. Spam in the lead, Aurel in 2nd, riolu 3rd, and Scrapie in 4th place, 0.8 of a second down on the leader. Meanwhile, Spam remaining in the lead after this particular section. It seems as though this might be the big break for him, the confidence boost that needed to actually move up the leaderboard and secure himself a spot potentially in the winner bracket final. Maybe we could see the Dutch driver getting in there. That's a really good possibility here. Also, oh shit, my man, I completely forgot everything about this. This is getting out of hand. So yeah, thank you very much for the follow to my channel forever. But yeah, man, this is so cobbled together. I can't believe this. This is your favorite, but it's completely cobbled together. I'm ashamed of myself. Aurel 1st, Spam 2nd, riolu 3rd, and Scrapie in 4th place, 0.8 of a second down as we're going to go through the identity for the 5th and final time here. Then we're gonna go as Aurel failing the drift, and that's full stop picking in the pole is riolu. I can't believe that. That's gonna allow Scrapie back up to second place. Meanwhile, Spam will negotiate the final turn and win the round. Scrapie in second place in front of Aurel, and fourth place for riolu. Man, what is happening? What did actually happen? I can't believe riolu actually full stop picked it in the pole at the first turn. And so then, 74 points for Scrapie in first, and 58 for Spam in second, 50 for riolu in third, and 48 for Aurel in fourth. I mean, the big bonka is for riolu. You're actually right, Sigith. Le poteau! Moving on to map number 3, which is going to be Rock or Roll from Table. So yeah, we already saw this map on semifinal 1. You don't really need to present it to you anymore, and I'm just gonna leave you with the warm up while I rehydrate myself a little bit here. So then, after 2 maps, we see that Scrapie has emerged a little bit in the lead with 74 points. Then we find Spam in second place with 58. But look at the points gap between second and fourth. Only 10 points. It can change over the course of a single map. A single round win could propel Aurel back into contention for second place. So yeah, everything will be to follow for Aurélien Bouard, 22 years old now. Sorry, I completely forgot that it was his birthday. From GamingPreview.com. Meanwhile, riolu is will seek to actually get his act back together after that paltry round 5 on Starcase and actually score some big points to potentially catch up to his rival Spam, the judgment from Team Diffuse Kids from the Netherlands. As they're gonna go through the identity for the first time in this semifinal and for the 6th time in this playoff day. Third platform for both of these guys. Really early landing from riolu, a little bit later for Spam, but still managing to get to the finish in safety and finish the round, as did Aurel. So, map number 3 is now underway, and we're going to be spectating Mr. Streamer, Borem Feija, riolu. So, the start here with a bit of a booster, then a jump here onto the platform. To the first checkpoint, it is going to be Spam who gets the whole shot up to CP1, 100th of a second in front of riolu, but riolu with much more momentum overtakes both Spam and Scrapie to take the lead. Scrapie currently sitting in second place with much more momentum as a result of that turn, and he overtakes riolu into this jump before the transfer. Let's actually see getting the booster onto the drift here, and really low line from Scrapie. Scrapie getting a really nice landing, but actually riolu also getting the same kind of landing. Oh, actually it was Aurel. Sorry, Aurel moving up to second place after in front of riolu, and Spam has been forced to respawn. I completely missed that, and that's going to be it for the Dutch driver. Game over for him, and we'll potentially see a position change in the... Oh no, actually I don't say that. I don't really want to say that. I don't really want to jinx it, but we could potentially see it's a position change if Scrapie somehow moves up this moves down to second place. It seems as though we could potentially see that as Aurel seeks to gain as much momentum as possible, to gain as much time back on the Belgian as possible, and overtake him into the identity, which they're going to go through for the first time. Meanwhile, riolu a little bit further back, 1/10 of a second down on the leader. Third platform jump down. Oh, a bit of a risky landing for Scrapie, but he will be able to remain in the lead and cross the line in first place. Aurel second, riolu third, and Spam will go for the line and will not be able to make it, and that's going to be a no-point score for Spam in this first round of map number 3. So, 84 points for Scrapie in first place, then in second place we find Spam with 58 points, then 54 points equal for Aurel, who moves up with the third, with riolu fourth. Unfortunately, hello Shadow Viking, unfortunately we already played semifinal 1, and Tween unfortunately got sent down to the lower bracket final for the as a result of semifinal 1. We're gonna get to have that right after semifinal 2. Yes, I'm the Reamsley Shady. So, Spam currently sitting in first place, then we see that Aurel and riolu currently sitting in second and third, Scrapie in fourth place. Remember, Scrapie is the leader of this particular semifinal with 84 points to his credit, and it seems as though Scrapie has got a much better line and a much better landing compared to the others in this transfer, and he's going to re-emerge in the lead in front of Aurel and Spam. Spam in third place, riolu a little bit further down, half a second down on the leader. Now we still find Scrapie in first place, Aurel in second as they're going to go through the ball wide. A really well negotiated, much lower line for Aurel, who's going to be able to maybe catch a bit more momentum. He gets the clip on the inside, and that's going to drop a bit more momentum on the contrary, and that's going to drop him down to 3/10 down on the leader, and he's going to get overtaken by Spam. And look at riolu, he's managed to re-emerge back in into the contention for the top 2. We're going to go through the identity for the 8th time today and the 3rd time in this semi-final. Let's actually see from the perspective of Spam. 3rd platform champ should be doing it, and that's going to be it for Scrapie. Scrapie first, Aurel second, riolu third, and Spam will complete in 4th place. Half a second of a gap between the first and last player with the 110.934 from Scrapie. 94 points for the Belgian player in 1st place. Then we can see a position change as Aurel moves up to 2nd as a result of that round, and with 60. Oh, actually no, Spam moves up to 2nd with still remains in 2nd with 61 points. Aurel 60 points in 3rd place, and riolu 4th with 58. So, as a result of this first start, we see Scrapie getting the whole shot for CP1, but actually Spam developing a lot of momentum, and that's going to drop him out of contention for the top 3. Meanwhile, the top 3 remaining really packed. Half a tenth of a second between those 3 drivers. Scrapie in the lead, riolu second, and then Aurel in 3rd, but Aurel has got much more momentum than Scrapie and riolu, and overtakes them both for the lead before the checkpoint, and we're going to go through the identity. I got a bit carried away here, but yeah, look at this. The transfers are really tight here, and Aurel remains in the lead 0.06 of a second in front of Scrapie. Then we find riolu a little bit further down, 0.2 down precisely compared to the leaders, and it's going to be a battle between Aurel and Scrapie for the lead here and the 10 points of the round win. And that's going to be the 8th time across the identity, and not the 9th time. Sorry, 8th time for him. So yeah, here we go for the identity for both the leaders, Aurel and Scrapie. Aurel in the lead. Scrapie with a bit of a risky jump here. Let's actually see. He gets much more momentum than Aurel. Let's actually get the landing here, and that's gonna both fail at the respawn, and riolu will win the round. Spam in 2nd place, and that's gonna be a battle again for the identity for both Scrapie and Aurel. Let's actually see who emerges a victor. It's gonna be Scrapie who emerges in 3rd place, and Aurel will cross the line in 4th. But what just happened? Scrapie will remain in 1st place with 98. Then we're going to see potentially a lead change. Yes, 2nd place moves up to riolu. riolu from 4th to 2nd in the space of 1 round. Spam 3rd with 57 and Aurel 4th with 53. What just happened? I don't really know. Yeah, that's... You can get your Omega rolls and your Omega Lulus out, because this is really one thing that I didn't really witness. Anyway, Scrapie getting the wall shot as ever into CP1, but having a bit of a weird line through there, and that's gonna drop him out into 4th place. But look at this group, they're still remaining really packed, less than half of the 10th of the second between those 3 players. Spam emerging a little bit in the lead as they go into the transfer. Aurel with a much tighter line, as does Scrapie, will be able to overtake both riolu and Spam and move up into the lead of the race, and getting the whole shot after the CP, 200ths of a second in front of Scrapie. But look at Scrapie, he will be able to get, and Aurel will clip the inside of the wall, dropping him down to P4. Scrapie will inherit the lead, 1/10 of a second in front of Spam. Then we found riolu in 3rd place with 0.3 of a second down on the leader. And now we're going to get into the final part of the map, and the identity will be coming up in the best part of 10 seconds now. Horse racing, ladies and gentlemen, but with cars. That's kind of like how I feel like when I cast. Anyway, we're going to go through the identity for the 9th time today and the 4th time in the semi-final. Let's actually see if everybody does it correctly. If Scrapie fails it, let's actually see. Scrapie will fail it, then force reach for riolu as well. And that's going to be Spam in 1st, Aurel in 2nd, and that's going to be Scrapie 3rd. If he manages to cross the finish line, yes, he will. And unfortunately, riolu will he be able to score any points? Yeah, he crosses the finish line in 4th with 3 points. So yeah, Scrapie remaining in the lead, but look out. There could be dire things ahead for the Belgian player if that form continues. 102 points for him in 1st place, then 77 points for Spam, who moves up back up to 2nd. riolu down to 3rd with 71, and 69 points for Aurel with 4th place. So then, final round on Rock or Roll. Map number 3, remember, of this particular semi-final. Riolu emerging slightly in the lead, but look at the pack for top 3 here. Riolu and Scrapie battling it out, and Scrapie emerging in the lead after grabbing a lot more momentum in the right-hander. Going into the transfer now, a much lower line from Scrapie will allow him to remain in the lead. No, he actually failed, and will actually be going for the safer strat here, and will be forced to respawn. No, he will actually go for the return here for the U-turn, but that's dropped him down to 3rd place. Meanwhile, Riolu inherits the lead, 2/10 in front of Spam, and Scrapie will be in 3rd place, 2 seconds down on the leader, and Aurel has made another mistake that I didn't really actually catch on camera. So yeah, that's going to be a pretty much an uphill struggle for the French player. Meanwhile, riolu and Spam currently in the lead. Riolu in 0.3 of a second in front of Spam, then Scrapie in 3rd place, 2 seconds further down on the leaders as we go through the identity for the 10th and final time here on this semi-final, and riolu dropping momentum. Spam forced to respawn. That's going to allow Scrapie to screw through. riolu first, Scrapie second, and we're finding Aurel, who will move up to third place. And yes, Spam will be in fourth place. He crosses the finish line right now, and that's going to be it. So 108 points for Scrapie in first place. Then we're going to find 81 points for riolu in second. Going to move back up to second. 1 point in front of Spam in third place with 80 points, and Aurel fourth place with 73 as we move on to map number 4. And map number 4 is going to be Control Tower, a multiple pathway jump, as you can see in the identity here, and the one where we saw Bren lose all of his points and potentially lose his shot at qualifying for the playoffs on step number 6 of the regular season. As we're going to go through the warm-up round as of right now. So current state of affairs is Scrapie first of the semifinal with 108, then 1 point of a gap between second and third. So everything is still all to play. It's still all to play for, and Aurel still remains in with a chance. He only needs to do now is to score some big points, big time, and deny some big points from the top 2-3 in order to get back up to contention. Sorry for the burp. And yeah, Aurel still very much in it. Maybe a winner bracket final spot. Winner bracket final spot would be a good, be a really good first part of the birthday gift for Aurel as we celebrate his 22nd birthday. So yeah, as you see the track, really fast flowing section right now, this particular jump right here. Then we got another jump coming up, 330 kilometers an hour needed to clear the jump perfectly as we see riolu do it. And then we're gonna have another loop computing here. Loop coming here. Computer tower, yeah. I especially love riolu's beam of inserting his USB stick that has an SD card slot. The USB stick that does have an SD card slot that was pointed by TrackMania, so yeah, I really love that. Anyways, as we're gonna go through the identity with riolu here, catching a lot of speed, then releasing midair and going for that third ramp right here, landing right there, and then at the drop down, orient the car right, clip the engine killer, and then go for the swooping right-hander drift to come across the finish line. So then we're going to wait for the other players to go through the identity or to retire, as Aurel will be forced to retire because of that. And yeah, actually going back down as he didn't have much more momentum to give. And now we're going to move on to map number 4 then. This could be the map for Scrapie to close it out and get his ticket to the winner bracket final. It's all on the Belgian now. riolu should be strong on this map. Okay, so we're going to keep tabs on that one. So the map has already started, and now we're going to move on to the dirt section right here. This dirt section where you actually, Scrapie dropping a lot of momentum. You see, going for the apex on the left and flinging the car by the first ball on the left side, and then gaining a lot of momentum. Around 280 kilometers an hour are needed to clear this jump over the hole, which everyone does manage to clear. Scrapie currently sitting half a second down on the leaders, currently packed well together. A tenth of a second, we're grouping those 3 cars. Aurel in third, Spam in second, riolu first, then on to the jump, orient the car on the right side, get this set up for the slide, and then we're going to get into the faster part of the track with the loop coming up shortly. riolu in the lead, Aurel second, Spam third, and Scrapie remaining 4/10 of a second down on that group, but still waiting to pounce and take advantage of anybody's mistakes. Yeah, there could be a nosebug. Yeah, you're right. There could be a nosebug coming if anyone pulls a Gwen and lands a little bit too early on the ramp. Anyways, we're going to go through the identity for the first time here, and we see that the battle is still very close for the top 3 with Aurel, Papou, Aurel, riolu, and Spam. And we're going to go through the third pathway here. Let's actually see if anyone does a Bren. No, nobody does a Bren, but Scrapie has a bit bad landing here, and we're going to see into this particular corner. Spam will win the first round. He will draw first blood in this map. riolu second, Aurel third, and Scrapie will cross the line in 4th place. So then, 90 points for Spam, who moves back up to 2nd place. 87 points for riolu in 3rd place. 4th place for Aurel with 77, sorry. And 111 points for Scrapie in 1st place. Now all he needs to win 1 round. He needs 2 wins. 1 for finalist and 1 to seal it out. As we're going to be following riolu along. Dutch player from Team Noordewind DNB, Mr. Streamer. Currently sitting in 3rd place with 87 points, still very much in the battle to get back into contention for the 2nd place and the 2nd spot in the lower bracket, in the winner bracket final, sorry. Meanwhile, Spam and Scrapie battling it out really well. Scrapie having a much better time and a much better start than what he had during the first round, and currently sitting in 3rd place, less than a tenth of a second, now 2/10 down on the leader. As Aurel overtakes him into the jump and into the entrance of the fast part of the track. Meanwhile, Spam remaining in the lead, 1/10 of a second in front of Riolu. Then we find Aurel 2/10 further down, battling it on the Scrapie, as Scrapie has more momentum than Aurel and moves back up to third place temporarily, at least, as Aurel will remain to keep its place in the CP as they go through the loop. It seems as though the loop was really well negotiated by all the players, and we see that yeah, Spam still has a bit of a gap, 2/10 of a second between him and Riolu, as we're going to go through the identity for the second time today, and we're going to be following it from the perspective of Aurel, currently the final man to close the field. Let's actually see Spam going for a really risky line, and it's going to be paying off, as we're going to see Spam potentially win the round. No, it's actually in the battle with Riolu, and Riolu will manage to overtake him and win in the round, and Scrapie overtakes Spam at the last minute, just before the line. Riolu first, Scrapie second, Spam third, and Aurel fourth. So, 117 points for Scrapie in first place, then second place for Riolu, who moves back up to second with 97 points, 94 points for Spam in third, and 80 points for Aurel in fourth. Now, all that Scrapie needs is to actually finish one round to get the finalists and get the win after that. Yeah, he managed to get a much better final corner than anyone else, it seems. So yeah. Oh, Aurel dropping the ball here just before the entrance of the dirt section, but it seems as though Scrapie has managed to re-emerge back in the lead, and it seems as though he's taking the matter into his own hands. But look at Riolu. He actually clipped the inside of the wall, and that's going to drop him out of contention right here, right now. Well, out of contention, not really, but he's still 1.2 seconds down on the leader. Meanwhile, Scrapie leading convincingly, 2/10 of a second up in front of Spam. Then 2/10 further down, we find Aurel in third place, and then 1 second down on the leader, we find Riolu in fourth. Let's actually see the entrance to this full speed part right here. Everybody clearing the jump nicely, going over the pole for Spam, getting a little bit frisky here, getting a little bit challenging for maybe for Spam, trying to find himself new challenges. That's what I wanted to say. Anyways, 1.5 seconds down for Riolu, because he's gonna have to rely on some big mistakes, potentially a nose bug or a fail or a faceplant a la Bren for the in order to get back into contention. Meanwhile, we're gonna go through the identity for Spam, Riolu, for Spam, Aurel, and Scrapie. Scrapie clipping the inside. No, Aurel actually having dropped the ball big time, and Scrapie dropping down to Spam, and that's gonna be Spam winning the round in front of Scrapie in second, Aurel in third, and Riolu in fourth place. Just 2/100 of a second down on Aurel, as Aurel dropped a lot of momentum into the identity, and so we move on to finalists for Scrapie in first place with 123 points, then Riolu then Spam in second place with 104, then Riolu on 100 points in third place, and Aurel fourth with 84. And now it's going to be all on this man, Dennis Heinen, aka Scrapie, 21-year-old player from Belgium, ZRT Cup semi-finalist, ZRT Cup 2, 2019 ZRT Cup semi-finalist, ZRT Cup 2 runner-up, 6th place in the Grand League standings as of step number 6. So Aurel, Spam, and Scrapie currently emerging slightly in the lead. Riolu a bit further down after having dropped a bit of momentum at the entrance of the dirt part. 2/10 down on the leading group, and Scrapie still trailing a little bit, but remaining in that right group. 1/10 of a second between the three players, Aurel, Spam, and Scrapie. Aurel going for aggressive line, Spam glitching the outside of the wall. That could be the cue that Scrapie needed. Now he needs to actually catch up to Aurel. It seems as though Aurel has managed to get his click back and get much more momentum than anyone else, and he's currently finding himself in the lead, 3/10 of a second up on Scrapie and Riolu, who are battling it out. Riolu could be the one to deny us as well. So yeah, still all to play for. All that's remaining from Aurel is to not fail it, and in order to score potentially the 10 points for the round win, as we're going to go through the identity here for the 4th time today. Let's actually see Aurel going perfectly. Scrapie and Riolu falling, and that's going to promote Spam up to 2nd place, and that's going to be demoting Scrapie down to 4th place. I can't believe it, and Scrapie will just roll around himself. Aurel in 1st place, Spam in 2nd place, Riolu 3rd, and Scrapie will not finish. He gets a DNF. And so Spam moves up to 110 points in 2nd place, 104 for Riolu in 3rd, and Aurel 94 points in 4th place. I don't really know what happened. Yeah, it seems as though the landing was really bad on both Scrapie and Riolu, and that's actually helped the matters big time for Aurel, who's gonna actually relieve the pressure and score the round win. Final round on Control Tower, still the chance for Scrapie to close it out and actually get into the winner bracket final a little bit later in the day. And it's the first match on stage of the Lyon esports, but it seems as though it's a pretty tough battle between him and Spam. Aurel a little bit further behind, 2/10 behind, but still remaining in hot pursuit, and Riolu having dropped fairly big Currently sitting 6 heads down on the leader. Meanwhile, Spam and Scrapie, the battle rages on between the two nations. Belgium versus the Netherlands. Who will prevail? Will we see Scrapie booking himself a spot in the winner bracket final early, or will we see Spam actually denying him and moving him into a double finalist and actually advancing that into a double finalist map? That could be one of the more interesting things. Another Mexican standoff could be potentially awaiting, but currently Scrapie in the lead as they enter into the identity for the final time for this semi-final, and Scrapie drops a lot of momentum, and that's going to allow Spam to move up to first place, and he's going to win the map. He's going to move into finalist mode. So yeah, the Mexican standoff will happen on the next map. Spam versus Scrapie. Spam first place, Aurel in second place, riolu third, and Scrapie fourth. So then, with those big 10 points, Spam moves on to finalists, and it's the Netherlands versus Belgium, Scrapie versus Spam, Diffuse Skits versus no team. As we move on to map number 5, which I think is the randomized pick after everyone has been picked, made their picks, and we're gonna go into Mini XXL, which we saw already in the first semi-final, which is the first map of the entire map pack to actually make use of the no brick block and part of the identity with the big U-turn that we saw many different lines actually being used in the first semi-final. So then, as we enter the final map, Spam and Scrapie have moved on to finalist mode. All that's needed from them is one round win each to potentially seal the semi-final off and move on to the winner bracket final played at 8:30 p.m. CET or 2:30 p.m. or 2:30 p.m. Eastern over in America. riolu or Aurel could potentially deny those guys though. All they need could be one round in each, and we could be heading into a quadruple finalist. Of course, that could be that's a very theoretical scenario, but it could still very much happen. riolu is the one that's potentially more inclined to do it with 108 points, and he could potentially deny Spam and Scrapie with the round win, then finish in fourth place and have Aurel deny everyone and move into a triple finalist. These are the kind of scenarios that we could actually be looking at. Really more open. I can only say that it's really much more open-ended than the first semifinals. That's for sure. Maybe not as stacked in terms of pure skill, but in terms of entertainment, it's pretty much where it's at. So, just before we get into the map itself, hope you guys are having a good day, and I hope you guys are enjoying the cast despite the technical issue and the technical drop into connection during map number 2, which was Starcase. I'm really sorry about that. Couldn't really do anything about it. That was my router that actually crapped out. Anyways, map number 5 underway, which was picked randomly. Round 1 out of 5 is started, and we're going to be focusing on Aurel, French player from Team GamingPreview.com, currently sitting in 4th place with 100 points dead. And we saw that we got an early mistake from riolu, it seems. Yeah, riolu has dropped a lot of momentum and currently find himself 6 seconds down after the first checkpoint. And now we're going to see Spam, Aurel, and Scrapie battling it out for the lead here. And now we're going to see into the banking, clearing the engine killer. Scrapie with a bit of a worse landing compared to Aurel. Let's go now. Aurel back up to 2nd place. And now we're going to move on to the dirt section where Aurel could potentially make his gain. Remember, he is one of those drivers that can actually has a preference for dirt, as he finished 3rd in the Gamers Assembly 2019 dirt tournament, and he makes it show as he is able to get back into contention with Spam. And when we see that Scrapie is also nothing to scoff at in terms of dirt skill, and he moves back up into contention. Aurel having a much sketchier exit compared to the rest of the players, and that's going to promote Scrapie and Spam into the lead. The two finalists don't get out together. Who will get their spot first? Now it's going to be a battle to the death into the identity that we're going to be following right now along with Spam, and actually see from Aurel's perspective. Aurel versus the watch plan between Scrapie and Spam, but it seems as though he's got a much better line, and it seems as though Scrapie could potentially get denied, but actually he's going to be over the line. It's going to be Aurel who denies them. Aurel getting the first denial of the finalist mode for Scrapie and Spam. Aurel first, Scrapie second, Spam third, and riolu finishing in 4th place. So 110 for Aurel in 4th place, 111 for riolu in 3rd place. Could this be happening? Could we get the quadruple finalist? This would be absolutely poggers. Anyways, we're currently following riolu along as we see that one of the drivers has already dropped a lot of momentum. That's Aurel, currently finding himself half a second down on the rest of the field. Spam, riolu, and Scrapie battling it out with each other. Spam in the lead, riolu in second place, and Scrapie in third place, remaining in that right group. Less than a tenth of a second between those three drivers, and Spam remaining in the lead. Riolu dropping a bit more momentum compared to Scrapie. Scrapie managing to get more momentum than riolu once again as we enter into the dirt section. Let's actually see how everyone fares, and it's looking like Scrapie has managed to catch up to Spam, and he could potentially overtake him and take the lead into round number 2 out of 5 of Mini XXL. It seems as though Spam has managed to remain in the lead so far. It seems though, really tight margins here in terms of exits, and we're going to see the Spam and Scrapie again. The Mexican standoff is happening between those two players, and we're going to see that Spam currently has a little bit of a gap between him and Scrapie, 1/10 of a second between him and the Belgian player as they're going to go through the identity for the second time today. And we're going to see that Spam goes for the really inside line, Scrapie for the outside line, riolu getting rid of aggressive, and that's going to be Scrapie who moves up to first place, and that's going to be Scrapie who's going to be securing his spot first. Scrapie will move on to the winner bracket final at 8:30 CET. Scrapie first, Spam second, riolu third, and Aurel fourth. So then, GG's to Scrapie. The Belgian will move on to the winner bracket finals at 8:30 CET after the announcement on stage. And now it's all down to Spam. All he needs is one round. That's all that is asked. Spam, the player from Team Diffuse Kits, currently sitting in the lead after the whole shot, and riolu dropping a lot of momentum and actually having clipped the inside of a wall. 1 second down on the leader pack. Aurel and Spam currently battling it out really hard for that lead spot. Spam currently emerging in the lead, 1/600th of a second between him and Aurel. 1/10 now between those two players as we enter into the dirt section where Aurel could potentially gain some really big time and actually claw the gap back to the Dutch player. Meanwhile, riolu, it seems as though it's pretty much game over for him, except if a very big mistake from Spam happens in this round, but it looks as though the Dutch player is looking cool, calm, and collected as we enter into the final part of this track and move on into the identity in the best part of 10 to 15 seconds. Spam still remaining in the lead, 2/10 of a second up on Aurel. But remember, Aurel had made a really aggressive line on round number 1 that had actually denied Scrapie, and he could potentially be set to do it yet again. Let's actually see from the perspective of Aurel, where he could actually he actually dropped a lot of momentum. Maybe could this be the cue for Spam? No, and that's going to be another denial from Aurel, who moves himself into finalist status as well. And that's going to be another Mexican standoff. Could this be the one to unravel everything for Spam? Let's actually see. So, finalist mode for Aurel, who moves up to third place as a result with 123 points. Spam and Aurel will be battling it out for the final place in the winner bracket playoffs. In the winner bracket final. Sorry. France versus the Netherlands versus Germany. What a matchup. Now it's up to Burim. Now it's up to Burim to show his skill, and it's up to Burim to keep the dream alive and actually head into a triple header for second place. Potentially the toughest matchup, potentially one of the closest matchups in TrackMania history. Currently, Spam remaining in the lead in first place, 0.3 of a second in front of riolu in second place, half a second now as Aurel moves back up and overtakes riolu as the start of the dirt part. Let's actually see if Spam manages to get his to keep his advantage. It seems as though it's looking like it. 0.7 of a second between him and Aurel. Even manages to pull a little bit of a gap to Aurel. 0.8 now between him and the French driver. And now it's going to be all about bringing this one home for the Dutch player. Bringing that one home for the winner bracket final spot. Let's actually see from the perspective of Aurel, and Aurel has been clinching the wall, and that's going to allow riolu up to second place, but in the end, this might not be enough as we see Spam is going to go through the identity for the final time and seal it all off for the winner bracket final spots. Winner brackets will be Papou, CarlJr, Scrapie, and Spam. Spam finishes the round in first, riolu second place, and Aurel unfortunately will not be able to score anything, and unfortunately for those two players, riolu and Aurel will be sent down to the loser bracket final, which was going to happen in around 10 minutes. So yeah, they're going to have to replay again. So yeah, there we go. Scrapie and Spam are your winners for the second semifinal, and we do have our bracket that I'm going to update in a little bit, I'm actually going to take the opportunity to take a break. So we're going to take a quick break, the time for me to update the bracket, to rehydrate myself, and then we're going to be back with the lower bracket final of the TrackMania Grand League. Stay with us. Sorry, stay with us. So then, we are back with the coverage of the first half of the TrackMania Grand League playoffs currently held at the Lyon Esports. So we already had the two semifinals already being played, and we already know the results of the bracket that is choose. So we're gonna see it right now. Bracket updated after the second semifinal. So Papou and CarlJr having won the semifinal 1, and Scrapie and Spam having won semifinal 2 move on to the winner bracket final, which is going to be played on stage at 8:30 CET. As for Kappa, Tween, riolu, and Aurel, unfortunately, they will have to duke it out once again into the lower bracket final to move up into the consolidation and continue their dream. The bottom two of this particular final will unfortunately have to say goodbye to the Grand League playoffs. So then, 2 matches done. Now we got 1 more to go to close out the afternoon, and it's going to be none other than the lower bracket final, which I'm trying to connect to the server right now. Okay, it seems as though... Wait. There we go. Okay, so we got everything set up in order, and now we're gonna have to win... Okay, so we got the pick and bans screen up, and now we're gonna move on to potentially another interview? Yeah, I think we're gonna do for another interview. And we're going to be interviewing one of the players from the actual semifinal 2 that we saw, and unfortunately gets sent down for into the lower bracket final, and that's going to be riolu.
The playoff phase for TrackMania Grand League is taking place today. We will have the winner of the first official season. The guy who seeded number 2 is riolu from Norway. riolu finally back at the big offline event. How are you feeling?
How am I feeling? I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm nervous but excited. I'm not sure if it makes any sense, but I'm feeling good about the whole thing. I think I can do well. Yeah. So let's just see what happens.
You were the last player to arrive here. Can you tell us how was the travel, how was the sleep, and how are you feeling? Are you feeling relaxed now?
Yeah, so how was my travel? I got pretty late, yes, that's true. I missed out on a pretty cool dinner with the people, but flight was okay, no issues at all. I had to I had a transfer thingy in Amsterdam, which Didn't make a lot of sense, but I had it. But yeah, it was fine. No issues. I got pretty late, so I was pretty tired when I arrived. Didn't really do anything after that, so slept okay. Not amazing, not too bad. I guess it's okay. Didn't sleep too much though. Went to bed way too late, but hey, that's me.
We already done a podcast where I asked you for the preview, how do you feel, how do you expect to perform here, but tell people who didn't watch that 1 hour podcast, what do you expect here and what are your goals?
So yeah, the main goal was obviously to get to the final, to the playoffs, to get to Lyon. That's the best thing, of course. Now the goal is to get as far as possible. I think I can get pretty far. Grand final is going to be difficult. It's obviously the main goal for everyone, I think. But yeah, I think I can contest most of the people if I find myself in the flow. It's going to be the most important thing to really find yourself in the zone and feel it today. But yeah, I think it's going to go all right, and let's see what happens.
You've already been warming up here where the 3 first matches is going to be played on Backstage. Can you tell us how is the PC feeling? Is it performing good? Is it not going to be like Air France where the best PC or tablet is going to be?
So yeah, I didn't have too much time to warm up yet. We made everything work.
Yeah.
So the game runs. We have 144 hertz. That's pretty good. But didn't play too much. So I don't know how it's really going to feel. But the first impression was okay.
You're playing for Nordavind. It's a long time since we've seen Norwegian org in TrackMania. How do you spoke to them? How you spoke to Bergie? What do he expect? And is he going to be here after? Hopefully he will be here once we are playing on the stage.
Yeah, so Bergie should arrive later on. He also has some trouble with his flight, sadly. But yeah, he's going to arrive, and I think the general expectation is similar to what I have. Going to get as far as possible. The main goal has been met. Also talked about it in the podcast. But yeah, I think we're happy with whatever we get this time, and the further we get, the better. So yeah, let's try to maybe go for the grand final.
I'm asking for some inside information. Can you tell the people what maps are you going to pick, what maps are you going to ban? Nobody of the players is going to watch this.
Okay, I think I'm going to ban the map with the start block.
Okay.
And pick the one with the finish block.
Oh damn, that's some solid tactics there. But let's predict some things. Who is going to win it? Who is going to win the semi-final 2 that you are going to play, and eventually who will be the champion of Jack in the Grand League?
From what I've seen, some specific individuals, they look very strong. I think everyone has named them so far. CarlJr is insane. I've seen his PBs, they're crazy. Far from what I thought would even be possible on these maps, so that was quite a shocker. But not really, because it's Carl.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's obviously a contender. I'm not sure. Kappa, I think, is going to be quite good as well. Maybe Papou.
Yeah.
But I think those are the 3 biggest names to look out for, and then maybe there's going to be a surprise. Maybe.
There you have it. The riolu semi-final is at 3 o'clock, right?
2?
2?
3?
3.
I don't know.
I think it's
3.
Just follow
Something.
every match of
Yeah.
virtual channel following this Nordavind guy here. That's it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So then, that was a word from riolu. It must be noted that all of the interviews that you see have been shot before the start of the semifinals and the start of the actual day of the playoffs. So you might not get the reactions after the actual matches have been played. And I'm really sorry about that. I do want to thank, anyways, Eirik Holdal, who has been providing us with the interviews of the different players. Sorry for that. And yeah, I really enjoy. It's a really nice thing to be able to actually hear the thoughts from the players, even though they might be a little bit delayed. Anyway, so we're currently in the server. We're just waiting for the pick and ban phase to start. And yeah, let's actually see. I wanted to check a few things here. Let's actually hope that my connection doesn't drop midway through the map. I really hope that it doesn't happen again. Anyway, so we're currently sitting in the pick and ban screen. I'm going to show it onto your screen right now, so you can see we currently have this screen here where we're going to be able to see each player's ban and each player's pick in terms of maps. So up first will be riolu, Aurel, Kappa, and then Tween for the bans, and then reverse order: Tween, Kappa, Aurel, and riolu for the picks. The final map would be randomly selected among the remaining the available remaining maps in the pool. So then, we're just waiting for everyone to make their picks and bans. It is currently 4:03 over in Europe, so that it would be 3 past 10 Eastern over in America. Thank you. Hello if any of you are tuning in from over there, and welcome anyway once again to the TrackMania Grand League playoffs. This is match number 3 out of 6, and this is going to be the match to close off the afternoon. After that, we're going to have it's the lower bracket final. We're going to have the bit of a 2-hour break, 2 to 3 hour break for me in order to actually replenish myself, and then we're going to get into the on-stage action. We're going to have actually an announcement at the on stage. That's actually bringing out the schedule here. So semifinals 1 and 2 have already been played. We're currently moving on to the lower bracket final. Then we're gonna have a 3 to 4 hour break before we get back on stage at the Lyon Esport, and then we're gonna have an announcement from Florent Castelnarac, aka Helis, CEO of Nadeo, along with as well as Zerator and a few other Nadeoders that will be there. And then 8:30 will be the winner bracket final. 9:30 will be the consolidation, and 10:30 will be the grand final to finally decide who will be the inaugural champion of the TrackMania Grand League. So then, we're going to be switching over to the face cam here. So again, really sorry about the technical issue that happened during map number 2 of the the second semifinal. My connection basically just decided to crap itself out. I still got the VOD recorded locally, so I do have everything until I had to reset my router, which made me drop out of the server completely. So yeah, let's hope that everything will be running smoother for the remainder of those, for the remainder of the matches for today, especially for the lower bracket final, because we were going to see Tween actually play a little bit later. Let's actually see if there's any issue for the other casters. It seems that the other casters are looking fine. We're just gonna have to wait a little bit before we get into the actual match itself. We're just gonna be waiting for the picks and bans to be made again. We don't have anything for the moment. Let me bump up the music of the game a little bit. There you go. Hope you guys can hear my voice over the game and can actually also hear the cars. I hope that the mixing is also done well. Yeah, I don't really have anything else much to say. So you know what? We're going to put great screen up until we get into the picks and bans. Hang tight. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I seem to have seen that one of the map picks have been put on screen and pulled back right away, so it seems as though the situation is evolving over at Lyon. We will get back to you as we hear more. Okay, so it seems as though we see the first bans actually coming in from riolu. Yes, the bans have started. We're going to see back on game. So riolu has decided to ban Brightside. Then we got Aurel banning Just Skidding. So final map of the first semi-final and map number 2 of this first semi-final will be banned. Descent has also been banned by Kappa. It seems as though we will not see any of these maps in the afternoon so far. Then we're gonna wait for Tween's ban for this particular matchup. And it is going to be Bunny Hop that is going to be banned. So semi-final 2 maps, the semi-final 2 starter map has been banned. Now we won't, for the picks, it's going to be up to Tween to actually pick the first map. And it's going to be Starcase, map 6 of step number 5. Then we're going to have Sky Euro being played for the first time today. So Kappa's pick. Then in third pick, we're going to have Aurel, who picks up. Let's actually see what he does pick. He seems to be taking his time a little bit here in order to consider every possible thing for maps here, and he's going to be choosing Rock or Roll. We're going to see that for the 3rd time today. 15 identities, can you believe it? 4 identity crosses, can you believe it, on Rock or Roll? And we're just going to be waiting for Riolu's pick and the random pick. Oh, it seems as though we got a switch in terms of bans. Contest Diving actually being, the ban being pulled. No, it's actually Brightside. We had a bit of a glitch in terms of the ban system. So Brightside, Just Kidding, Descend, and Bunny Hop are banned. Starcase, Sky Euro, Rock or Roll, and Contest Diving will be the pick for riolu, and Mini XXL will be yet again the decider map. So then, we got our maps selected and picked. We're gonna be moving on to the lower bracket final, and it's gonna be one important matchup for our man Tween. Unfortunately for him, he got sent down to the loser bracket rather expeditively after having failed to score some big points in the first semi-final and risking way too much in the early part of that. riolu chose Contest Diving. Yes, he chose Contest Diving. So then, moving on to Starcase, which is going to be the first map of the day then. We already saw this map in the previous semi-final. I don't think I need to present it anymore. But anyways, I'm going to give you that graphic because, and why the hell not? So Starcase by Firestorm. The 3 jumps in the end have been blocked off, so you're going to have to go for the drifts around the poles or just underneath the poles. So yeah. Everything is, pretty much to play for, and we hope that Tween will be able to bounce back from that setback from the first semi-final and will actually be able to move on to the consolidation at the very least in order to keep the dream alive at Lyon. So then, Tween currently sitting, so Tween unfortunately 4th place in the first semi-final, Kappa 3rd place with first semi-final, so the Czechoslovakian duo unfortunately starting the playoffs on the back foot. And on the other hand, we find riolu and Aurel, who actually were so close to keeping the dream alive and heading into a triple finalist, even quadruple finalist header for the actual remaining place in the winner bracket final. In terms of predictions, I would say Kappa could be having an upper hand here. I would put Kappa in first place, and then it's going to be a tough battle between riolu and Tween, in my opinion. So first place would be Kappa. Second place, I would give the advantage to Tween, but riolu can still be there with his consistency. So it's pretty much anybody's game for the actual second place in the standings. But anyways, go Tween. Yes, I know, go Tween, but there's not going to be any hearts for the display here on the game. So we're getting started with the lower bracket final. Map number 1, Starcase, is going to get underway, and we're going to be specking our man Tween from the Pittsburgh Knights, Marek Paka, 23 years old, from Slovakia. Everybody's starting pretty grouped at 280 kilometers an hour for the first jump coming up in the second here. Very much clear perfectly from all of the players here. And now we move on to the third jump with 200 kilometers an hour, at least over 200 kilometers an hour required to finish here. 210 kilometers an hour as they cross the jump in. Tween having a much worse landing than the rest of the players and dropping down to 4th place as a result of that. Kappa in the lead, riolu in 2nd, and Aurel in 3rd. But it looks as though the battle for the top 3 is really tight here. riolu, Kappa, and Aurel battling it out really tightly here. Less than a 1/10 of a second separating those 3 drivers. Kappa currently emerging in the lead for Veloci Esports. Then we found riolu for Team riolu in 2nd place, and they're neck and neck, wheel to wheel. as they head into the loop and into the second part of this particular map, which is going to be really flowing at high speed. Meanwhile, Tween is a little bit further behind, 3/10 down, but he could be waiting to pounce on anybody's mistakes. He could potentially wait for an Aurel to make a mistake, or for a riolu to make a mistake. Anything can happen here. Meanwhile, riolu emerging in the lead, slightly in front of Kappa, and Kappa having to emerge in the lead into the whole shot after this particular checkpoint. Now onto the drop down before that uphill platform section with 2 slides. Kappa and riolu still at the battle. Tween moving up to 3rd place and actually having much more momentum than both Kappa and riolu, and moving up to 2nd place after the CP, and now it's going to be up to the identity to decide who will win this round. Now into the first particular dirt, into the first drift. Let's actually see Tween full stop picking. No, I can't believe it. Tween has full stop picked the first mole. Then Kappa, Aurel, and riolu first, second, and third. Into the final round we go, and that's going to be Kappa who wins the round. Aurel first, Aurel second, riolu third, and Tween will cross the line in 4th. Regardless, but still, Tween. How did he do that? He pulled a riolu in semifinal 2. He pulled a riolu of semifinal 2 here, full stop picking the first pole. I know I don't really want to. I know I shouldn't be associating names with fails, but that's kind of like how I actually how I make reference points here. So onto round number 2 we go. 10 points for Kappa in 1st place, then Aurel second with 6 points, then riolu third with 4 points, and Tween 4th with 3 points. Sorry. Had to recollect and actually grasp the standings here as we head into round number 2 of Starcase. Now, Tween emerging a little bit in the lead before the dirt jump. Let's actually see if he clears it. Much better clearance from riolu here with much more speed than Tween, and that's going to allow him to move up into the lead. Tween in 2nd place. Then we find Kappa in 4th place and Aurel in 3rd, battling it out with Tween for 2nd place and actually overtaking Tween for the runner-up spot and scoring potentially 2 extra points if he keeps it that way. And Tween seems to have glitched a little bit. It doesn't seem like he glitched the wall, but he could have, and that's going to drop him down to behind Kappa in 3rd place. So currently Tween rounding up the field, but still 0.3 of a second down on the leader, so anything can still be to play for here for our man. Meanwhile, Kappa, the defending beta season champion, currently sitting in 3rd place, 0.3 of a second down on the leader, riolu. Now we're going to see how everything goes as they head into the final part of the map with the identity coming up in a few seconds. Now we're going to go into the drop down, into the platform part, riolu in the lead, Aurel in 2nd place, and look at Kappa, who's trying to get really aggressively, make him big, and he's going to go big, moving into 2nd place in front of Aurel, as they're going to go to the identity for the 2nd time here to in this particular lower bracket final. Let's actually see into the first dirt jump, into the first drift. riolu and Kappa negotiating perfectly, but Kappa has got a bit of an advantage going into the second one. He's going to be up to the final corner to decide which one will be. Full stop pick from Kappa, and that's going to be riolu, Tween, and Aurel 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And Kappa will win in 4th. The full stop pick curse has struck for Kappa. The defending season champion has completely failed it at the final corner, and that's going to be a lead change. riolu will move up to 1st place with 13 points, Kappa 2nd with 13, Aurel 3rd with 10, and Tween 4th in 9 with 9. So, round number 3 of map number 1. Currently, riolu and Kappa, 1 point between them in 1st and 2nd. Actually, 1 point between them in 1st and 2nd, yeah. Aurel 10 points in 3rd, and Tween just back down in 9th. But Tween could be in to score some big points. Maybe he actually learned to actually have a mental reset after the first semifinal and actually get his act together and score some big points right now. So, riolu in the lead in front of Kappa and Aurel. Aurel currently sitting in 3rd place, around half a second down on the lead. No, 2/10 of a second down on the leaders. 4/10 down on the leader. We find Tween currently rounding out the field, but remember that Tween is a little bit of the underdog position here. He's going to be trying to actually get back up there, back up into the standings as soon as possible. Currently battling it out with Aurel for 3rd place and the benefit of a 1 extra point. 3 points for 4th place, 4 points for 3rd, remember. Meanwhile, Kappa remaining comfortably in the lead, 0.2 of a second in front of riolu, and that we're going to be up into the identity zone in a fairly short time here. Kappa in the lead, riolu 2nd, Aurel in 3rd place, but it seems as though much more momentum from Tween and Aurel, and it's going to be allowing them to move up to 2nd and 3rd place respectively as they overtake riolu into the identity for the 3rd time in the lower bracket final. Kappa moving into the first turn really nicely, beautifully. Then we see riolu and Tween battling it out for 2nd place. riolu having the advantage into the final corner as we see, and Kappa will fall down the hole. riolu 1st, Tween 2nd, Aurel 3rd, and Kappa 4th. And Kappa, almost falling into the hole again. What is happening for the Czech driver? And riolu will be extending his lead with 24 points to his credit. Tween will move up to 3rd place with 15 points. Kappa remains in 2nd place with 16, and Aurel 4th with 14. Round number 4 of Starcase, as we're going to be checking in with our man Tween, currently sitting in 3rd place with 15 points. 1 point behind Kappa in 2nd place. Kappa having failed 2 times in a row for the identity at the same, almost the exact same place, final corner. First fail was a full stop pick in the pole. 2nd place was falling down the hole just before the finish line and being forced to respawn. Tween having clearing perfectly almost the identity and keeping the, not the identity, the dirt jump, and keeping tabs with the on the lead fight. Riolu and Aurel battling it out with each other for the lead. Kappa a little bit further behind in 3rd place, and then 4th place for Tween, who's currently running out the field, and Kappa trying to get into the mix of the battle of the lead battle and overtaking Aurel into the loop for 2nd place. And now we're gonna have to see him catch up to Riolu and potentially get into the lead here as he tries to reel in the German driver from Team Nordwind. Riolu in 1st place, Kappa 2nd, Tween moving up to 3rd, having overtaken Aurel. I completely missed that from our man, and he's going to be trying to overtake Kappa into 2nd place. Let's actually see Riolu dropping a lot more momentum compared to Tween and Kappa, and that's going to allow Tween to move up to 1st place. Could this be the 1st round win for our man? Let's actually see into the identity for the 4th time, in this match. Riolu in 2nd, Kappa 3rd. Let's actually see into the identity into the first turn. Tween remaining to the advantage, but look at Kappa. It's going to be a battle between Czech Republic and Slovakia into the final corner. Let's actually see if it does it, and that's going to be Kappa who wins on the line. Tween 2nd, Riolu 3rd, and Aurel in 4th place. Really good round here from these 2 players. 127.762 for Kappa. And yeah, holy crap. 28 points for Riolu will mean that he will remain in the lead. 2nd place for Kappa with 26 points, and 3rd place for Tween with 21, and 4th place for Aurel so far with 17 as we enter to the final round of map number 1. A really tight battle up until the finish line for the 10 points of the lead here, and it seems as though Kappa has got the better of it and moves back up to contention to the lead here after we enter the final lap of map number 1. Kappa with much more momentum than Riolu and Tween, and he's going to be able to overtake the German driver into the lead. Oh, actually, Riolu has having none of that, and he's going to make some resistance, but that's a much worse line. He's actually clipped the inside of the wall, and that's going to be dropping him down to 4th place just like that, and Aurel and Kappa will be alone to battle it out for the lead, and Tween will be just behind them in hot pursuit. In 3rd place, 0.2 of a second down on the leader. As we enter the high-speed part of this track, currently Kappa pulling a little bit of a gap to him and to Aurel, 0.1 of a second between him and the French driver, and the French driver has completely failed his line, dropping a lot of momentum, and that's going to allow Tween to move back up to 2nd place. And maybe could Tween actually catch Kappa? We're going to have to see into this here, and he's going to have pretty much the exact same line, but actually much more momentum than Kappa, and that's going to allow him to close back up to the Czech driver into the final identity for this first map. And oh, Kappa! I can't believe what I've seen. Let's actually see Tween. 1st drift done. 2nd drift is going to have to be done pretty much perfectly. Is it going to be the 1st round win into this first round bracket final? And yes, it is. Tween will win the round. Aurel 2nd, Riolu 3rd, and Kappa will finish in 4th place. What just happened for the defending champion? I can't believe that. So yeah, Tween with 31 points will move up into 2nd place. Riolu 1st with 32, Tween 2nd with 31, Kappa 3rd with 29, and Aurel 4th with 23. How to throw a win? I don't think he's throwing. Maybe he's having pressure. Ooh. Now we move on to one of the identities and one of the sections that we saw really often in this Grand League, and that's going to be Sky Euro, an uphill slalom between holes preceded by a booster and a no drift. 400 engine killer, 400 kilometers before we get into that, and then we're gonna have to watch out for the timing of steering inputs and the speed at which you attack every single corner and get as much speed as fast as possible. This jump here, you're gonna need to lift the throttle and keep around 310 kilometers an hour in order to avoid clipping the checkpoint and potentially warranty you a respawn. Then we're going to have another jump that's going to be coming up in the best part of a few seconds that some people could be actually doing. Let's actually see if people are going to go for the jump, and it seems as though, yeah, we're going to see Kappa, Riolu, and we're going to see pretty much everyone going for the jump. There's actually a possible wallbang here in the corner before the checkpoint, but unfortunately, as you probably know, in the playoffs, wallbangs are banned. Here, stabilize the car really well here. Air brake at pretty much every single bump. Then the underground part with the bordering dirt, which you can actually use to set your car up for a much more aggressive angle and get back onto the road with a much better line into the corner. Then throw your car to the left, avoid clipping the curb on the inside, and try to get as much momentum as possible. And here, it's going to be pretty much the dirt part here, and then we're gonna go into a triple apex long right-hander here. You're gonna actually see that from the perspective of our man Tween. You can see first apex, second apex, and then their third apex, and then snap the car directly to the left until we get to the identity here. Booster, engine killer, drop momentum here, then go for the slide, second slide, Kappa failing it, and actually see Tween clipping it, and it could be very easy to make a mistake here, and that's going to be here for the finish line. So then, everybody crossing? Oh, except from riolu. riolu currently sitting down at the identity. Let me just drink a quick sip. And here we go. Map number 2 of the lower bracket final. 32 points for riolu in the lead, 31 for Tween in second place, Kappa 29 points in third, and Aurel 23 points in fourth. We can expect that from the perspective of the French driver currently celebrating, so remember, his 22nd birthday. So everyone grouping up really well. Now to the first jump, really drop momentum, and Kappa has been going really too far to the left and has clipped the inside of the checkpoint, and that's going to be it for now for the Czech driver, unless another mistake arises from any of the top 3 drivers. Let's actually see how everything goes for riolu, the man from Northern DNB, from all the way from Germany. Is he going to go for the jump? No, he's not going to go for the jump. He's going to go for the safe way, as he didn't have enough momentum. Tween in the lead, Aurel in second place, 0.3 of a second down. Then 0.4 further down, we find riolu in third place, and then Kappa 1.5 seconds down on the leader as they go through the staircase section. And now Aurel has managed to climb the gap, climb back up to Tween here, and it's going to be up to Tween to withstand the pressure from the French driver in order to remain in the lead into this underground dirt part and the following dirt section. Let's actually see how everything goes for our man. He goes for a bit of a safer line and actually narrowly misses hitting the wall, but that's going to allow Aurel to go a bit more aggressive, and that's going to be up in the lead for the French driver. 1/10 of a second further down, we find Tween, and that's going to be a battle that is going to be raging until the end of the track and the final and the identity here, as we're going to go through it for the first time today. And Tween clipping the wall. That's not really what he wanted to do, but still. Okay, through the identity, first, fourth, third, fourth, and that's going to be Aurel who wins the first round. Tween second, riolu third, and Kappa in fourth place. So, as a result of that, we're going to see Tween move up in the lead of the matchup with 37 points for his credit. riolu will bump down to second with 36. Aurel will move up to third place with 33, and 32 points for Kappa demotes him down to fourth. So yeah, go Tween. Yeah, Tween in the lead position for the first time in this playoff season, and now we're going to have to see how everything fares for our man from Slovakia as we go through the second round of the GL, going really far left here, going for a really low line over the walls, a really risky line that was attempted by the... That was attempted by Kappa on the first round, but he actually clipped the inside of the checkpoint, and that's dropped him out of contention for the big points. Meanwhile, everybody remaining group, will they go for the jump? Yes, they will. riolu going for the safe round, and that's going to be allowing riolu to move back up into contention for third place, as Kappa did not have the best landing after that jump, and that's going to be a pretty much dire situation for the Czech player, currently sitting in fourth place with 32 points. To his credit, Tween meanwhile battling out with Aurel for the lead. France versus Slovakia. Tween emerging slightly in the lead at the underground part. Let's actually see if Aurel is able to actually catch the Pittsburgh Knights driver here, and that's going to be not really the case. Now onto the dirt section. Maybe could this be where Aurel makes up the gap, and it seems as though it's showing to be promising. And yes, less than 1/10 of a second between Aurel and Tween. It's game on now for the lead, as we see riolu a little bit further down in third place, and Kappa has made a huge mistake, and that's going to be fourth place for him. So then, onto the identity, Tween going for the slide. No, he falls down the freaking hole, and he goes to respawn. The freaking hole, sorry. He has been forced to respawn. Aurel will win. riolu second. Tween will be down in fourth place. Kappa crosses in third, and Tween in fourth. No! What just happened? I can't believe that. 41 points for Tween, but he was going to get demoted down to third place, as if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Aurel will move up into the lead with 43 points. riolu second with 42. Tween third with 40 points, so he's still in the battle. Kappa fourth with 36. Yeah, he did a hole-in-one here. Pretty much what happened. Anyways, let's actually see how everyone fares for everyone. And it goes from right to left again, going with a really aggressive line for Kappa. but it seems as though it's paying off as he remains in the right group right now. 1/10 of a second separating the 4 drivers. Aurel, Tween, Kappa, and riolu remaining very much in the tight group, with Aurel slightly in the lead in front of Tween. 300ths of a second in front between the 2 drivers as riolu moves up to 3rd place. Will he go for the jump? Oh, sorry. Yes, he will. Sorry for the burp. Yep. A really close battle, as we saw that riolu has clinched the inside, and Aurel did the same as well. So that's going to promote Tween into the lead and Kappa in 2nd place. The Czechoslovakia duo of the World Team Cup is back at it again, battling it out. Sorry again, I don't need to burp. Anyway, quick math. And Kappa will overtake Tween into the lead, into the as of the underground pump. Tween going for a much more aggressive line. That's going to be allowing still Kappa into 1st place, and now it's going to be Aurel to move up to 2nd place into this particular round, as we're going to go through the identity in a very short amount of time here. Currently, Tween sitting in 3rd place, 3/10 of a second down on the leader. Aurel in 2nd place in between those 2 players, and now we're going to go into the identity for the 3rd time today, as we're going to see who fails it. Okay, Kappa going with the slides. The slides are pretty much executed perfectly. Tween with much more speed and will overtake them both and win the round. Kappa in 2nd place, Aurel in 3rd, and riolu 4th. That's my man. Tween will win another round in this lower bracket final and will grab 50 points and will be up to 50 points, and will move back up to the lead from 3rd to 1st, just like that. Tween 1st with 50, Aurel 2nd with 47, riolu 3rd with 45, Kappa 4th with 42. Can we get some poggers in chat for that retention of momentum on Tween's part in the identity? That was really nice to see. Anyways, as we enter round number 4, Kappa and Tween battling it out yet again as riolu gets into the mix as well. Currently, all 4 drivers are remaining really well, nicely knit together. Aurel a little bit further behind in 4th place. They're all going to go for the jump, and riolu gets a much better jump than Kappa and move up to 2nd place. And Tween has dropped much more momentum compared to Aurel, and now Aurel is going to be back up to contention, and it's still game on for the remainder of the map of the round win here. Kappa with a bit of a risky landing here after the staircase, and that's going to drop momentum compared to him. He still remains in 2nd place and actually has more momentum than Tween, and now it's going to be moving up into the lead, into the underground part, which we're going to have to see the perspective from Martin Krumpolch himself. Kappa emerging really well in the lead, narrowly missing the wall again, but still remaining in the lead so far. Tween in 2nd place, riolu 3rd, and Aurel having dropped a little bit more momentum, a little bit further down in 4th place, as we're going to go through the identity in the space of a few seconds. Here we go then. The slalom begins now. We're going to have to see how everything goes. Kappa. No, Tween will go for another hole-in-one. He will be forced to respawn, and that's going to be Kappa 1st, riolu 2nd, Tween, Aurel 3rd, and Tween in 4th place. He completely misjudged the first turn, and that's going to be it for that. 53 points at the end of that round for him, but he will get demoted most likely to the... Actually, let's see, after the calculation is done, he's going to be demoted down to 2nd place. No, he will remain in the lead, amazingly. 53 points for him in 1st place. Kappa, 52 points for him in 2nd place, and then 51 points equal for riolu in 3rd and 4th. So yeah, the battle is still pretty close after 2 maps in, and as we're heading into the final round of Sky Euro, it's still everything to play for here. Tween remaining in the lead right now with 53 points to his credit and getting into the lead of the round, but battling it out with Aurel. Aurel, who's showing really his potency here, trying to get as much momentum as he can to get himself into the consolidation final. Tween going for the jump, as does Aurel. Tween going for the slide here. Oh, and actually forced to drop a bit more momentum and having an unforced slide, and that's going to allow Aurel and Kappa to move up into 1st and 2nd respectively. Tween in 3rd, and riolu a bit further behind has dropped a bit more momentum than the others and will be languishing, finishing around the pack. Kappa and Aurel battling it out for the lead. Kappa 1st, Aurel 2nd. Tween 3/10 down on that pack, but he could potentially regain that and potentially may take advantage of anybody's mistake in the identity or have a much better identity than everyone else, as we saw on round number 3. Oh, clipping the inside of the wall. That's going to allow riolu to scoot by, and that's going to demote into P4, unfortunately, for Tween. Now we're going to go through the identity for the 5th and final time in this map. So let's actually see how everything goes in terms of the slalom. Kappa going really nicely. Aurel as well. Riolu having less speed than Tween, and that's going to promote Tween to 3rd. Kappa, Aurel, Tween, and riolu, your top 4 after round number 5 of Sky Euro, and we're going to see another leader into the lower bracket final as Kappa grabs 10 points, moves up to 62 points, and moves up in the lead. Tween will grab 4 points, and 57 will move up to 57 points and drop down to third, equal to second, equal with Aurel actually. But Aurel having much better finishes, he actually moves up to second place, 57 points for both of them, and riolu finds himself down in fourth place with 54. Moving on to map number 3 then, which is going to be Rock or Roll. Map that we've seen already 2 times in both semifinals, and now we're going to see it yet again into the lower bracket final. It's almost as if we wonder. It's almost as if I'm wondering. If we're going to see any other map. If you are going to see this map playing throughout the whole day in the throughout the whole day in the entire playoffs. riolu did ban Brightside, if I recall correctly. So yeah, Brightside, another map from table, has been banned after being played in the second semifinal. So that's if that's your question, Venru, that's your answer. So then, moving on to map number 2, still everything pretty tight together. Only 8 points of a difference between first and last. 62 points for Kappa in the lead, but then 57 points equal for Aurel and Tween, currently sitting in second and third respectively. So it's still everything to play for our man, and he could potentially still move back up to second place and potentially the lead if he manages to get some good rounds going. It seems as though it has a pretty good start to that. It certainly looks like he could potentially take the fight to get himself into the consolidation. As people are going through their identity for the first time in the semifinal and for the third time in the warm-up, sorry. And now we're gonna see the match start. Map number 3, Rock or Roll. Third time we've seen this map today. Can you believe it? Anyway, we're gonna be spectating Aurel from Team GamingPrivé.com, Frenchman, 22-year-old now. As everybody starts really well into the platform jump, let's see who's gonna get the whole shot. It's gonna be riolu who gets the whole shot after CP1. Aurel with much more momentum though, with a much outside line, will overtake riolu into third place. And now we see that Kappa has pulled a little bit of a lead between him and Tween, but Tween is now coming thick and fast. And now we're gonna go into the transfer where we saw that Tween had a much better line as this better line than the others, but Kappa is also having the same line than Tween, so this could still be game on for the lead right there. And Kappa will have the whole shot, but look, the same 100th of a second for Tween, and that's gonna be a full stop for Kappa. That's gonna be completely devastating for the Czech driver as Tween inherits the lead. Second place for Aurel. Meanwhile, he's gonna have a much better line through the wall right though, and that's gonna be the battle for the lead right there. Tween versus Aurel. riolu in third place, and then Kappa is completely out of the picture. Meanwhile, Tween and Aurel remaining in the lead, 1/10 of a second between the two. Then 3/10 further down, we've got riolu, Mr. Streamer himself, the most consistent driver in the entire season. The 11th time for the identity as we see Tween go through it. Aurel and riolu go through it as well. Will Tween be able to actually secure this? Aurel will be forced to respawn, and that's going to be the ground win for Tween. Tween first, riolu second. Aurel will be forced to respawn. Kappa third, and Aurel will finish in fourth place. So then, Tween will move back up into the lead. 67 points for him in first place, 66 points for Kappa in second place, 60 points equal for riolu and Aurel on third and fourth place. Round number 2 has started, and now we're gonna get the hello Zapman, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for joining, Cats. So yeah, Tween currently emerging in the lead after CP1, but look at Kappa, who has got much more momentum than Aurel and could potentially try to overtake the fight to Tween after this right-hander. Let's actually see if he does. It seems as though Tween has got this in the bag though for this second corners. Now onto the transfer. riolu having dropped a little bit more momentum and currently finding himself 0.8 of a second down on the leader. Kappa versus Tween. This is the matchup right now. The Beta League season champion, and that's gonna be Tween who makes the mistake. Oh, actually he's gonna be able to actually land it, but still. Dropping down in last place is not really what you want when you're battling it out for continuing your matchup. So Kappa will inherit the lead. Aurel in second, riolu third, and Tween in fourth. 1.1 second down on the rest of the field. Let's actually follow the perspective from Mr. Streamer. Borin Feiza, riolu from Northern DMB. Papou remaining in the lead meanwhile. Half a second between him and Aurel in second place. And look at riolu going for a much more inside line compared to Aurel. He's going to try to take a fight to him as they're going to go to the identity for the 12th time today. As we're going to see Kappa go through it. Let's actually see if he makes a mistake. And that's going to be allowing riolu to actually move up. And Aurel made a mistake as well. riolu first, Tween second, Aurel third, and Kappa fourth. So then, 73 points for Tween, who will be in the lead again. And then we're going to find 70 points for riolu in second place. Kappa will be demoted to third on 69. And Aurel fourth with 64. Round number 3 on Rock or Roll, which was Aurel's pick, remember, so that's really uncharacteristic to see him flounder like that and be demoted to 4th place currently in the panel, as we see Kappa with a much really risky line here, almost clinched the outside of the kink before the right-hander, sorry. Meanwhile, Tween rounding out the field, but still remaining in that right group, less than 0.2 of a second down the leader as we head into the transfer for the 3rd time in this final, and we're going to see Kappa emerging in the lead in front of Aurel and Tween. Tween going a bit wider than he should be, and that's going to still remaining him in 3rd place and battling it out with riolu to keep his 3rd place alive. Meanwhile, Aurel and Kappa will remain in the lead. Kappa 0.1 of a second in front of Aurel. riolu 3rd, Tween in 4th. We're going to still be spectating from our man as we see a really good perspective from the entire field here. So Kappa still in the lead, a tenth behind between him and Aurel in 2nd. Then 2 tenths further down, we found riolu trying to take the fight to Aurel, as we're going to go through the identity for the 3rd time in the match, as we're going to be going through with our perspective from Tween. Let's actually see the identity from Tween. Is going to be dodgy. He's going to be forced to respawn. That's really unfortunate for him. Kappa will win the round. Aurel 2nd, riolu 3rd, and unfortunately for Tween, he's going to have to respawn. Let's actually hope he will be able to cross the finish line to score those 3 points. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. 3 points for him, but he's going to be demoted down to 2nd place, if I'm not mistaken. No, he will still remain. No, he will be demoted down to 2nd place as Kappa will get back up to the lead. 79 points for Kappa in 1st, 76 for Tween in 3rd, 74 for riolu in 2nd, 74 for riolu in 3rd, and 74 Aurel in 4th. Penultimate round of the map, 2nd map of the 3rd map, I think, of the lower bracket final. Aurel a little bit further down the field, over a 1/10 of a second between him and the leading group. Kappa in front of Tween and riolu. As we go into the transfer jump, let's actually see from the perspective of Mr. Streamer, and it seems as though he's got a much better line than the others, and he's going to be able to get back into the lead. That's going to be the lead for Burin Feita. Meanwhile, Marek Tween will be in 2nd place, battling it out with Kappa, who's following him really closely, and Aurel is going to be able to actually get into the conjunction as Tween has dropped a lot of momentum and drops down from 2nd to 4th. And we're going to have to see how everything goes for the other players. The line from riolu was especially insanely low at the transfer, and that's what allowed him to move up from 3rd to 1st in the space of a checkpoint. As we're going to go through the identity for the 2nd to last time in this lower bracket final, let's actually see who goes it for it pretty well. It seems as though everybody gets it really well. riolu, Kappa, Aurel, and Tween will be your top 4 at the end of this round. So then, Kappa will remain in the lead with 85 points. With 1 point behind him, we will find riolu, who moves up to 2nd place. Tween in 3rd place with 79, and Aurel 4th with 74. riolu looks like he's picked up the pace. riolu looks like he's been really picking up the pace so far in this lower bracket final, and it seems as though he will be able to find out a challenge against all of the others, especially Kappa, to get himself into the consolidation final and the next stage of the playoffs. Meanwhile, we see that Tween and Kappa are battling it out along with riolu and Aurel a little bit further behind as we go to the transfer. Kappa and Tween are trying to get much more momentum than Kappa, but it seems as though the Czech player still has it, and we will be emerging in the lead in front of Tween. 3rd place for Aurel, riolu 4th. riolu a bit further behind, 4 tenths down on the leader, and 2 tenths down on the Aurel, who is just behind. And Aurel going for a much insider line here, and he's gonna go straight up in the lead, but he could potentially be prey for Tween and Kappa, who are definitely some of the faster guys out there, especially Kappa, the defending season champion, as we see that Aurel still remains in the lead, 1/10 of a second in front of Tween, and then Kappa in 3rd place, 3 tenths down on the leader, and then we see riolu trying to get into the match. Let's see for the final time in this lower bracket final, the 50th time of the day, through the identity. Tween trying to go for the big lines here. Let's actually see if he gets it. He will be able to get it. He will be able to win the round from 3rd to 1st. Tween, Aurel, Kappa, and riolu will be your top 4 with 500th of a second of a gap between him and between Tween and Aurel. 110.980, and Tween will bag 10 points and move up to the lead, joint lead with Kappa on 89 points. First in Kappa, Tween and Kappa in the lead with 89, riolu 3rd with 87, and 80 points for Aurel in 4th. As we move on to map number 4, which was riolu's pick, which is contest diving. Grass slide U-turn surrounded by water, really extremely risky with 2 different ways. One pretty safe and another one pretty risky to do. So we're going to be heading into the warm-up right now. So, first part of the map is a really big dirt part right here, consisting of a series of uphill and downhill corners along with a chicane right there that you're going to be about to see in a chicane before the exit of this particular dirt part. This could be at the advantage of people like Aurel or riolu who are more well-versed. That's more well-versed than people like Kappa or Tween in the art of dirt driving. So yeah, this could be where people could actually get the upper hand and get themselves some big points and get back into contention. So then, state of affairs, joint lead between Kappa and Tween with 89 points, then third place for riolu with 87, just 2 points behind, and then Aurel completes the field with 80 points, so still have everything to play for. So then, we're just waiting for everyone to get through the identity and to cross the warm-up as we see Kappa getting pulling what he did in the first semi-final, that is clipping the upper part of the checkpoint. As we're seeing that riolu and Tween will go through the identity and that is split into 2 parts. riolu going for the left far side line and will be able to cross the finish line just behind Tween, and everybody seems to have gotten it. No, it seems as though Aurel will be in the crossing the line in last and will be starting right after he does so. So, map number 4 of the Grand League's lower bracket final will be underway jointly between Kappa and Tween in 89 points. Then we're going to find riolu in third place with 87, Aurel fourth with 80 points as we start round number 1 of contest diving. riolu so far emerging slightly in the lead after the first checkpoints in the start of the dirt part. You can see that everybody still remains pretty much packed up. Less than a tenth of a second separating all 4 drivers as Tween got a bit of a dodgy landing that's going to drop him a bit more momentum than he should be, and he's going to have a no drift here, dropping him down to 3/10 down on the leader. And meanwhile, the battle for the top 2 rages between riolu and Kappa. Aurel a little bit further down in third place, but still in hot pursuit and waiting to pounce. As they're gonna go through the wall right in just a second, as they're gonna be doing right now. There we go. Cam switch is obligatory here manually if you don't want to have a really weird POV if you're playing from the outside. The drifts here for everyone is really well made. Kappa, riolu, Aurel, and Tween, your top 4 so far, as riolu has dropped a lot of momentum compared to Aurel and Tween has much more compared to Aurel, and that's going to be moving the Slovak driver up to second place. Let's actually see the identity from the perspective of the man behind him, Aurel. Let's actually see if he manages to save it here, and Tween will be able to save it and actually drops a bit more momentum because he remains on the grass compared to Aurel, and that's going to move the Frenchman up to second place. Meanwhile, it's going to be the battle for the final identity. He's going to go for the weird line here, and that's going to potentially move up to second place, third place for Tween. Kappa, Aurel, Tween, and riolu, your top 4 after round number 1 on contest diving. And so we will see that Kappa will remain in the lead so far with 99 points. Then we're going to find 93 points for Tween in second place, then third place for riolu with 90, and Aurel fourth with 86. So far, not really so far a rather safe start, a really cautious start to the map by Tween, trying to go for the rather safe approach of keeping all 4 wheels of the grass during the grass slide, but as a result, he wasn't able to get as far as he wanted to do, as we see riolu clipping the outside, and that's going to be dropping him out of contention surely. And sorry for the burp. As I said, it's pretty much a safer strat that kind of ended up costing him a bit of time, as he wasn't able to go to the outside curb and get momentum back up as soon as possible, unlike Aurel, who was able to overtake him there. So, meanwhile, Kappa in third place, chasing Aurel for second, and Tween emerging in the lead, a tenth of a second in front of Aurel, going for the drift right here, and it's looking pretty smooth. It seems as though we don't have any crashes so far Oh, and actually Tween has made a mistake. He's been forced to... No, he's not been forced to respawn. He did have a mistake, or has he been forced to respawn, I think. And yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be dropping in down the 4th. Let's actually see if there's any mistake going through the identity from the remainder of the players. We're going to check that out from the perspective of Kappa. Kappa will be forced to respawn. That's going to be the cue that Tween just needed. And Tween has a really dodgy identity as well. So that's going to be up to Kappa to actually... And Kappa will cross the reverse TPs. And Aurel will be able to win the round unless there is a fail arising in the finish, which it doesn't occur. Aurel first, riolu second, Tween will have to cross the line in 3rd. He will be able to cross the line in 3rd. And Kappa will not be able to score any points. No score for Kappa, and that's going to be 97 points for Tween in 2nd place, 96 equal for Aurel in 3rd and 4th, and 99 points still for Kappa, who has not managed to score anything, and now it's pretty much anyone's game. So then, on to round number 3 of contest diving. Sorry for the wrong pause in the voice. Now we do have everything in the bank. Everything is still possible. It's still anybody's game to snatch the first finalist spot away from each other. So far, it is Kappa who's looking the favorite with 99 points, but then 2 points behind we find Tween, who's currently having a better time than Kappa so far in this round, and battling it out with riolu for the lead. Then riolu and Aurel third equal with 96 points. So yeah, we're gonna have to see how everything shakes out in this particular one, which could be really important here. Tween emerging slightly in the lead in front of Kappa, 100th of a second in front of the Czech driver. Let's actually see how everything goes into this drift right here. It seems as though everything is picture perfect. Kappa going for the inner line, and that's gonna be pretty much the safer strat here. Tween will be able to retain as much momentum as possible. Aurel has dropped momentum. It's going to be overtaken by riolu in third place. Let's actually see from the perspective of Kappa how the identity will go for him and for Tween. Let's actually see through the identity for the glass slide jump. Let's actually see Tween, oh, with a clip, and that's almost scraping it out of the water. He dropped a bit of momentum though as a result, and that's going to allow Kappa to move back up into the lead as they're going to go through the final part of the identity with the weird lines here, and Tween will go for this line, and now Kappa will be able to win the round. Tween second, riolu third, and Aurel in 4th place. And as a result of that round, Kappa will move back into the lead with 109 points. 105 points for Tween he remains in 7th place. 100 points for riolu in 3rd, and 99 points for Aurel in 4th. Yeah, the line is slower and harder. The line that Tween has taken is really slower and harder. We saw that in the first semi-final when Papou was actually taking it. The way to go is definitely the left line with a much straighter path, and then 2 consecutive bumps to actually negotiate. Yeah, it's actually... right line is actually slower. It doesn't just look slower, it is actually slower. So then, Tween, riolu, Kappa, and Aurel so far, your top 4. Aurel a little bit further behind, 3 seconds down on the leader. But look at this little train right here for the top 3, as Kappa has a bit of a dodgy landing that's going to allow Aurel to get back up to 3rd place, and he does so. Aurelien Bouard move up to 3rd position. Meanwhile, riolu and Tween are battling it out for the lead. Tween having a little bit of an advantage, and 10th to second between him and the German as they go into the wall ride. Much higher line compared to riolu for Tween, and he's going to go through the drifts. He still has a bit of a buffer, though, 0.2 of a second as they cross the line here. And now we're going to go into the identity in a short bit here. What's happening, Zero? Is there something I said wrong? I don't know. Anyways, we're going to go into the identity for the 4th time here on contest diving in this lower bracket final. Let's actually see if anything arises for Tween. Tween going for the grass slide, and Aurel forced to respawn, and Tween managed to get much more momentum than everyone else, and he remains in the lead so far, and he could potentially be set to win, but now he goes for the harder line. That could potentially be the cue for riolu to win, but no, Tween will win the round in front of Kappa, riolu, and Aurel will have to cross the line pretty quickly here if he needs to actually get into this. No, he will not score any points. Aurel will not score any points, didn't finish, so 113 points for Tween in 2nd place, and then we're going to find Kappa still remaining in the lead with 115, 104 for riolu, and 99 for Aurel. So then, final round on contest diving, and then we're going to move on onto the final map, which is going to be Mini XXL, and that could potentially be the map to decide if Kappa will move on to that could be the map to decide, and that will be the map to decide if Kappa will move on to the consolidation, as he will be one of the first players to actually get the chance to get into finalist mode. He could potentially get his finalist mode right now if he reaches 2nd place. Remember, he only needs 5 points to actually get up into finalist status. Whereas Tween will have to win the round if he wants to do that. Kappa having dropped a little bit the ball here, currently 0.2 of a second down compared to the rest of the field, but he's emerging back up thick and fast. riolu, meanwhile, in the lead in front of Tween, 0.07 of a second between him and the Slovak player, sorry. And now we're gonna get a really good battle here. Tween emerging in the lead, riolu, Kappa, and Aurel still in hot pursuit, and really, it's pretty much game on as we go through the final identity for contest diving on this lower bracket final. Let's see if Tween will get it. Let's actually hope for Tween to get it. He will get it pretty much perfectly. All three drivers will get it perfectly, but Kappa has much more momentum than Tween, and that's going to be up to him to actually overtake him, and then we're going to have to witness a battle to the line here, as they're going to go for both for the same line, and Tween will actually remain in front, and will win the round. Kappa second, Aurel third, and riolu fourth place, and now it's a Mexican standoff as we're going to head into the final map, Mini XXL. Both Tween and Kappa will move on into finalist mode. Whoa, calm down, Razor. Calm down. Now, both of these drivers do have several jokers here, but they must not make any more mistakes now, as this is the one to make or break their bid to continue the playoffs adventure. Of these 4 players, 2 of them will have to get sent back home or be forced to witness the grand finals on the stage at Lyon. The 2 others could be taking part in that as part of the consolidation. We'll have to witness that into the 5th and final map, which is going to be Mini XXL. No grip identity yet again, and yeah, you pretty much know this map by this point, and yeah. State of affairs, Mexican standoff between Tween and Kappa, both having reached finalist mode on the same round, round 5 of contest diving. riolu third place with 107, and Aurel third with 103. He's gonna have to, these players are gonna have to deny them big time in order to get back into contention and move up potentially into a 3-way or 4-way battle for the 2 slots for the consolidation. I'm tapping into my water reserve here. I'm not gonna have to pee real quick after this broadcast is over. After that, we're gonna have a few hours break to replenish, to get to eat, and after that, we'll get back on at 8 p.m. for an announcement featuring Florent Castanerac, aka Highless, CEO of Nadeo, then also Zerator, Adrian Nogaret, independent content creator, and a few other devs of Nadeo. That is pretty much gonna be one of the most exciting things, I think. Final map, the decider. Go Tween. Be speedy, Tween. So then, round number 1, the first of 5 attempts for both Kappa and Tween to move on into finalist mode and move on to the consolidation. Sorry, both in finalist mode. Sorry, Kappa. Anyways, Kappa emerging in the lead. Tween so far in second place. Aurel a bit further behind in third, accompanying riolu. Tween and Kappa still the Czechoslovakian duo, remaining in the firm command and still battling it out fiercely for that first playoff spot. And Kappa having a bit of a clip here on the inside of their corner, and that's going to promote Tween into the lead. But look at the Czech driver. He's going to be able to come up thick and fast as Tween has a bit worse exit than Kappa, and Kappa will move back up into the lead. Tween in second place. Let's actually see from the perspective of Aurel, who's just following him. 0.2 of a second between him and the leader. Let's actually see how everything will go. And he does the doink! Kappa will doink and will be forced to actually respawn, and that's going to be it for the challenge for Kappa. Now we're going to be up to Tween to actually seal it in. And oh, the clip on the inside of the hole. That's actually going to be allowing Aurel to get a much tighter line and move up to the lead. It's going to be Aurel to deny him and move up to first place. Tween second, riolu third, and Kappa fourth. 113 points for Aurel then, while Burim will score 111. So then, Tween with a spamming, yeah, a really wide line, he went way too high there, and that was pretty much it. He was not able to catch up to Aurel, who had a much tighter line. That was pretty much the way to go. So then, take 2 for both Tween and Kappa for the final, for sealing it in and getting into the consolidation final. Meanwhile, Aurel will have to try to fight back from the back of the pack. Currently sitting 0.3 of a second behind the leader. Then riolu in third place. And Tween currently in the lead in front of Kappa. Less than 1/10 of a second separating the two drivers as we see Kappa reeling in Tween. And we're going to have to see, potentially witness a lead change, as we saw that Tween was not really particularly at his ease during the dirt part, as Kappa was feeling a bit more confident, even though he dropped a bit more momentum compared with a little bit of a doink on one of the insides of the corners. And now we're going to have to see how everything checks out. It seems as though Tween and Kappa seem pretty evenly matched, and currently Kappa has a bit of a slight advantage, less than 1/10 of a second between the two drivers yet again, as we're going to head into the identity in the best part of 20 seconds. Now, riolu currently sitting down in third place. We're going to follow the perspective from him. Tween with a really risky line here. He almost clipped the inside of the pole. That would have been devastating for our man, but he still remains in second place, just behind Kappa, and we're going to have to witness the identity for the second time in this lower bracket final. Tween trying to go for it. He will be able to get much more momentum than Kappa. It's going to be over the line. No, it's going to be Kappa who will win the round and will secure himself into the consolidation final. Tween in second, riolu third, and Aurel in fourth place. riolu will have 115 and Aurel 116. GG's to Kappa. The defending beta season champion keeps the dream alive in the playoffs. And now, moving on to Tween. One more round. I want your claps and chat to actually encourage our man. He is on the verge of continuing to actually get into the playoffs. And we see that both players have made a mistake. Oh no, actually Tween having much better line here. And that's going to be out into Tween in the lead. 0.2 of a second in front of riolu and Aurel. Tween remaining firmly in the lead so far. This is anxious times indeed for the Slovak driver. Out of this 3-2, we'll have to witness as a spectator the grand finals. This will be a shame for any of those, as everyone here is worthy of becoming the Grand League champion. Everyone is worthy to continue this journey, and it would be absolutely devastating for anyone to actually get dropped off. Meanwhile, it seems riolu has dropped down a little bit, half a second down on the leader. Aurel 0.3 of a second down on the leader. Let's actually see from the perspective. Let's actually see how Tween goes into this final part. He must get the lines absolutely perfect. He must try to save it as quickly as possible. He must not let that slip through his fingers. Potentially the chance to seed it out and move on to the consolidation, as Tween will get more momentum than Aurel. Aurel has failed it, and that will be it. Tween will move on. No, he will go into the checkpoint. What is he doing? And that's going to be the triple finalist for the final spot. Unbelievable. What is happening? The one that shouldn't have slipped through his fingers eventually did, and now this is the real heartbreaker. Triple finalist for the final spot in the consolidation final. Now is the time to pull everything together, drop the big times. Tween emerging in the lead after the first checkpoint here, 1/10 of a second in front of riolu and Aurel. Aurel second, riolu third. Tween still emerging in the lead. Aurel must be absolutely livid right now. He must be absolutely giving it everything as well. Everybody's gonna give it their best shot. Tween still in the lead as they enter into the dirt part, but riolu in second place could potentially benefit from that, as does Aurel. Remember, those guys are much more well-versed in the dirt compared to Tween, so that could potentially be devastating. That could potentially be the deal breaker in terms of between Tween and the second spot in the consolidation, but Tween seems to have gotten it pretty well. Currently sitting in the lead, 0.2 of a second in front of riolu right now, as we're going to be spectating the German driver Borim Fejda from Northern DMB before fighting against Marek Paka from the Pittsburgh Knights from Slovakia, as we're going to go into the identity for the final time in this grand final and the final time for this afternoon. Tween will have to go for the third line here. Let's actually see riolu with more momentum potentially. It's going to be over the line again. No, it will be riolu who will get into the consolidation. Unfortunately for Tween, the speed wasn't there, and for 0.05 of a second, he will have to pack his luggage and move back and witness that on the grand final on the stage. So unfortunately, that is the end of the adventure for Tween. Kappa and riolu are your qualified for the consolidation final, and unfortunately for Marek Tween Paka and Aurelien Aurel Bouard, it will be the end of the road at Lyon. So then, I'm exhausted, really gutted to see that our player didn't manage to get himself a spot. It was possibly the most close match that we've ever seen so far in the playoffs. So I would like you, chat, to give some GGs for Tween. He actually gave it his all to actually make it. Also, congrats to GGs to Aurel for actually giving his all as well, but unfortunately only 2 can actually move on to the next stage, and unfortunately for them that wasn't the case. So big congratulations to Kappa, Martin Krompolsch, and Riolu Burinfeja for actually moving on to the consolidation final that we're going to be playing next after the break, and it's going to be the great time for us to bring back the schedule. So the first 3 matches have been played, so semi-final 1 and 2 have been played already, and the lower bracket final has been played at 8 p.m. and the action will come back at 8 p.m. CET with an announcement featuring Hillis, or Florent Castanerak, CEO of Nadeo, and Zerator, French content creator. At 8:30 CET or 2:30 Eastern, we're gonna have the winner bracket final opposing Papou, CarlJr, Scrapie, and Spam. At 9 p.m. at 9:30 CET or 3:30 Eastern is gonna be the consolidation final, where we're gonna see Riolu and Kappa face off against the bottom 2 from the winner bracket final, and then at 10:30 or 4:30 Eastern will be the grand final, where we're going to finally see who will be the Grand League champion for the first time. So this is it for the first part of the day. We're going to come back in the evening for the rest of the matches. Thank you very much for tuning in for part 1 of the playoffs in Lyon Esport. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to all the new guys. Thank you very much for the Pittsburgh guys. I want to give a shout out to Knights, to HyperX, Smile.club, and Sheets, our sponsors. And yeah, don't worry, we will be back at 16:30 for maybe a bit of a pre-show, and here we go. So, see you later!